the Will Stancil Show. It's the Will Stancil Show. It's the Will Stancil Show. The Will Stancil Show. The Will Stancil Show. It's the Will Stancil Show. It's the Will Stancil Show.
All right, that's enough of that. But it is kind of the Will Stancil Show today, just for a bit. We're going to start off with that. We've got a bit of a crazy update today. I was kind of just planning on taking an easy one and watching this Jeffrey Epstein interview, which I think we'll get to if there's time. But we got some updates, both from Minnesota and from Elijah Schaffer. Yeah, I don't know. Look, this guy is like freaking out. Now, this is a big day for confirmation bias because the first time I saw Elijah Schaffer, I was like, I know this guy's a grifter. I know this guy's a piece of shit, but I just can't prove it. And it's like one of those situations where like you say this about somebody and 9 times out of 10 you're wrong and just being an asshole. But that one time it turns out to be true, you're like, oh, I fucking knew it. I knew it all along. I'm never wrong about these things. I knew he was a piece of shit. And the question is, what has caused him to freak out? Is it drugs? Is it the Ralph Mail curse? Is it proximity to the Baldo when he raped him at the Blaze Studios? We'll find out tonight. Now, this is actually really wild. And there was actually some concern for his wife and children who have left him, apparently, because he couldn't stop boning. Conservative thoughts. So we'll get into that after the Will Stancil stuff, which is pretty quick. It's gonna probably the Elijah stuff's gonna be the main stuff, and then we'll kind of just chill out with the Epstein's last interview before he disappeared. Since I still do have a bit of a cold, so I apologize for that. But Chugga Rob in the chat. Oh wait, how do I show this? It's not showing up on StreamYard. Here it is. He says, well, howdy, meme, starting off with a big $20 super chat. Very nice support. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, as always. So let's go to Will Stancil. Now, Will Stancil, who looks exactly like this, he's a 40-year-old cherubic man who lives in Minnesota with a degree in Black Studies. And he's coming, it's kind of crazy, his little transformation. He's becoming a bit of a warlord in Minnesota, but now people are pushing back. Basically, he's a white liberal guy who's been raped by a grok the most amount of times in history, and he's standing up against the evil ICE. But things aren't all going well in their liberal paradise in the, what is it, the Chaz version of Minnesota, like the autonomous zone, as he's been filming, and people have been getting some blowback. People think he's an ICE agent. It's crazy up in Minnesota. Like everyone's like accusing each other of being ICE. It's like that Spider-Man meme, but they're like saying, you're ICE, no, you're ICE. And it turns out that the biggest ICE doxing group pulled the Uno reversal card and doxed a bunch of liberals, which is very funny. But Will Stancil went to the autonomous zone today and just tried to film things. But people are mad because they want to just go around and do whatever they want and have no cameras around. So this is the first interaction. It's not where he gets punched those. You can see there the dumpsters are burning. It's a dumpster fire in Minnesota.
I know. No, he's just like, there's like 12 years, like all he's like the one guy that wants there to be a riot, you know? Like this is fine. Just we got
that's coming up next.
Pinned in. Now it's like, I mean, like, I don't want to burn down the neighborhood. That's what they want.
They do want to burn down the neighborhood, though. They want to destroy everything. They want to replace... They don't want to get rid of the cops. They want to be the cops. They want to destroy everything and just riot because it's fun. It's fun to smash things and jump up and down and set things on fire. I think everyone that's been a child knows this. That's why the parents don't let you play with matches, because it's too much fun and it's dangerous.
Some people want to be 2020 forever.
Yeah. We have a public meeting tomorrow. We're part of Social Tenant. We have a public meeting tomorrow to talk about next steps.
Sorry, I'm not really a socialist. I mean, I...
Oh, he's not a socialist! Get him! Get him! Oh, dear.
Are you going to strike again on Monday?
I'm sure I will. I mean, I'm out here every day. I mean, I'm with you on this. When you talk about the other stuff, I don't care. It's not a big deal.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. This is so... Yeah, well... Yeah, well, don't light stuff on fire, though. I mean, that's...
So this guy looks like he's pretty angry. He's giving an old Will Stancil the side-eye. What the fuck is this? He's got a diaper on his head or something?
Don't...
You have a problem with those people?
I got a problem with those people. I also got a problem with people who's going to burn down my neighborhood, so...
You're out here filming people. Okay.
He's the problem. He's out there filming people while they're burning down the neighborhood.
Oh, shut up.
I'm pretty convinced that Will Stancil is going to have a transformation into a chud by the end of 2026.
So...
You're out here filming people. Okay.
Oh, shut up, man. I've done a lot more than you have. Shut up.
That's the first punch, actually. I guess this is the one that he gets punched.
I thought everybody was still up there. Thanks a lot, guys. He's filming people's faces.
He's filming their faces. Oh my goodness, he must be a bad man.
Oh no! Yeah, this is the million people.
There you go. He gets taken out. He gets suckered. Poor Will Stancil. Now, there's actually something that may help Will Stancil out, and that is this map that was linked to me in the Discord today. And this is called the Peace and Quiet map. So if you're in one of these hotspots, then you might want to consider moving somewhere safer. And we're going to take a quick look at this. So let's just put in a random, postcode. Let's say, how about, I don't know, just off the top of my head, 56201. Okay, somewhere called Wilmar, Minnesota. Okay, interesting. This is very quiet. Look at this. There's so much peace and quiet here. Must be a nice place to live. Let's have a look at Minneapolis. Not so peaceful and quiet. And you can see here, there's even filters. So we'll turn off all the filters, and then we'll go through them one by one and see which makes things less peaceful and quiet. All right, we'll turn off every peace and quiet. And then we've got a perfect America. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So we'll go back to Minneapolis. So let's see. First on, let's turn on the violent crime filter. We'll see what that does. Might take a second to load in. So we'll turn on the first one is violent crime. Okay, nothing's really popping up just yet. Maybe there's nothing. Okay. Let's turn on the payday loans. Oh no. As soon as we turn on the payday loans, the noise is starting to appear. Interesting. Let's turn on beauty supply. Not so much. I mean, there's like a couple gay 90s there or something there. What about pawn shops? Oh no, we're getting a lot of activity now. Things are starting to heat up across America. What if we turn on Popeyes and Church's Chicken? Oh, we got a lot of action in Chicago now. Look at that. Minneapolis is starting to be bumping. Diversity is our strength, absolutely. Let's turn on the Section 8 housing. Oh no, Minnesota's not looking so good anymore. In fact, all of America is starting to get covered. It's interesting though, there's like this big line dividing America. All right, let's turn on the, what is hoopity listings? Is that like, that's a lot of hoopities. What the fuck is that? I would assume that hoopity is random places you can play basketball. Interesting. Let's turn on the waffle houses. Let's turn on the public housing. Let's turn on, what is LIHTC? I don't know what that is. Oh, wow. Is that like a mobile company? Boost Mobile. We'll turn on the liquor stores. We'll turn on the bail bonds and the methadone clinics. You see, Minnesota's not doing so good. What is the point of this? It's to find somewhere nice you can live. Like if you want to live up in, you could live up here. Over here in, what is this place? Ne Bay. How do you say this? N-E-A-H? Ne Bay. All right. So maybe Will Stancil can move up there. All right, let's get, that's the fluff segment. Let's get into the freak out today. That's what we want to talk about, I think. Hoopty is pronounced, and it's all trashy cars. Okay, interesting. Am I blaming the color reds? No, I love the color red. It's beautiful. One of my favorite colors. All right, so this is what happened today. It's a couple of hours ago, honestly. These are deleted tweets from Elijah Schaffer, who you may remember as a character from The Blaze, and I think there's another company that they formed together, which will come up as well. He says, I don't know where my wife and kids are, and I cannot get a hold of them. They are filed as missing persons. They have gone missing. I guess this is meant to be law enforcement. Law enforcement confirms someone in my household set me up. They planted drugs and said I was a criminal. This will be a public trial by the FBI. I am a victim of a serious targeted felonies. I am not suicidal. They have kidnapped my family. They have stolen my money. I will bring justice. I need the public to know. I am in Virginia. The government is aware. I believe the FBI is trying to destroy my life and kill me. Now, he deleted these very quickly. But people were very concerned at this point because people were like legitimately saying, yo, did Elijah Schaffer just murder his family? But he deleted those. Now, you got some of the interesting characters weighing in this, of course. We have one character here. Oh, no, wait, that's Milo. Where is it? Is this it? Where is it? Here it is. Jean-Francois Garapi weighs in. He says, and I'll have to forgive my French, poor Elijah, does he not have the brains to get away with it? Or is this a real kidnapping and he is being a Truffaut? So who knows? JF, of course, is the master of getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it. Now, what's fun is, and I kid you not, Elijah Schaffer tweeted this bizarre drug-fueled video, now deleted, in which he walks through the flooded hotel while hallucinating on an unknown substance. So this is not a drill. Elijah Schaffer is stuck in the back rooms while his family's being abducted.
No one believes me that my life doesn't make any sense right now, but this is the way back to my hotel room, and it doesn't make any sense. I now have to leave my hotel room because of a flood. This is very weird.
I'm glad that he recorded this, because if he told anyone about this, no one would believe him.
But what's going on here, okay?
What's going on here is I think he wandered into an abandoned building, and he just claimed that it's his path to his hotel.
Very bizarre. So there's some, I guess, some water moving here.
As a trip, who knows?
Okay, cool. Won't walk in that. My feet are wet. And then we got some
He's wet.
flooding, I guess. Okay, it's falling on me. But what even is going on, right? There's a thing, okay? At least I can, like, take a seat. And
Why would you be taking, like, this is unironically pretty dangerous, right? Like, because the lighting is still all illuminated. Couldn't this just become electric at any time? This is not what you should be, Elijah.
actually
obviously.
rest? But then I have some what? Some Diet Dr. Pepper? No one
Well, certainly this is a quiet part of America where those Dr. Peppers are still there. Oh, dear. Now, this was reported on the Kiwi farms. Let's go through these. I'm generally shocked that there is no general Elijah Schaffer thread. And I have zero desire to create one. But here's a series of Natalie tweets he posted today where he talks about his wife and 2 young sons are missing. They planted drugs in him, stole his money, fun, and car. And of course, these are the 2 ones that we went through that I've already read. Let's see. My stolen car was recovered by US Customs. I am the victim of a serious set of felonies, including gun theft. Someone from my inner circle is involved. This is an international probe. I think the only international probe he's been doing is on the buttholes of gropers, but who knows? I don't know who I pissed off. I have evidence and I will prosecute. I can't say anything. What is this one? One day ago, he posted, Indians just colonized and voted a pro-rape and pro-gang candidate to run the most powerful country in Texas. I don't know what that's about. Base Taz says, bullshit. You said your family was missing. Now it's all about the car. I'm glad you got the car back, but you've been on coke bender and the missus took the kids. Coke is for the homos, bro. Most pointless drug I ever did. Absolute weak piss. Elijah responds saying, shut the fuck up, you projecting narcissistic asshole. Sorry you did coke and fucked your life. I don't do drugs. Oh, by the way, Max, this is the jacket you sent me. This is the Indian jacket that Max sent me. It's actually quite comfy, so that's why I'm wearing it today. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'm going to press exit out on Elijah not being on drugs. I don't do drugs. I'm a dad and very concerned. Oh, he's so responsible. But have been advised by attorneys not to make any more statements due to criminal actions against me and sensitive nature. And you can see here, this is him posting when he got his car back. And here's the fun part, is that Master Milo has been getting involved. And Master Milo is a character from the old days. Hasn't been around too much lately, but he did get his Twitter account back. And he's such a fucking snake. That doesn't mean he's not funny, but he's such a fucking snake. He has like this orange flash drive of like things he's gonna like. Oh, here we go. Here's the photo. Actually, I think I already loaded this somewhere else. We can see Elijah's not looking so good. He looks old. It's weird because I thought he was quite a young guy. I thought he was in his 20s or something, but it looks like he's pushing 40 in this photo. Is this what drugs does to a man? Makes you age like this? Meth is 100 times. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. We'll get to the point about what he was cheating about later. But all right, so Milo, who doxes everybody, who has all these like, well, not doxes everyone, but he exposes their dirty laundry quite frequently, at least when he has the opportunity to do so. He says, I'm in touch with Elijah. I told him to get off the internet for a couple of weeks and go to rehab. It's better for everyone to just rip the band-aid off. So I'll share with you over the next few hours the info doing the rounds in private, or at least what I've been able to confirm. So he just goes straight up and shares all the DMs. You can see Milo said to Elijah, I've seen a dossier someone put together. Everything is coming out. My advice is to check yourself into a facility sooner rather than later. There may be a life for you after this, but it's going to depend on being totally honest about all the details, and it's going to require sympathy. As far as I can see, drug addiction is the only card you have left to play. But he said he's not on drugs, Milo. If I were you, I would go out of my way to be generous and decent with the wife and kids. The cross-filing in other states for divorce is insultingly childish and stupid. Observers will be asking, haven't you put the poor bitch through enough? The investors don't matter. If they meet with you, you still wrote the check, and that's on them. I'm sure it'll be a while before you are ready to start putting your life back together, but when you are, I will help you. I don't know about that. Taking help from Milo would be a bad move in my opinion. I've been trying to signal you for the past year or so to cut the bullshit and talk to me. I was hoping everyone could avoid this. You may wish to be offline for next week or two. What do you mean? Elijah responds. Cease and desisting people right now. That's a great move. Suing everyone, that's an absolutely fantastic move, and I recommend him to continue to do that. But I got my car back, so that's good. Are you stupid? What do you mean? And there's been some fun memes about this, like that feel when your wife and children are missing, but they found the car. So at least he got the car back, chat. He got the car back. Let's fucking go. Let's get some W's. What do you mean? Wait, just seeing the top of this. Hey man, I'm going through some tough things. Can you help me here? What dossier? Shot your call. Your tweets have been so erratic and insane that people are asking if you killed your family. There's a dossier being circulated that reveals all the details about Rift's collapse. Okay, that's Rift TV. So not a little bit about that. I think after the blaze ended. Now, you may remember the blaze and Elijah Schaffer from... where is that clip? Where is that clip with the old... I have this somewhere. Let me see. This one. You may remember this. This is the last known footage of the Blaze TV. When Ethan Ralph, the Ralpha male, confronted Elijah Schaffer outside the Blaze TV. This is a classic one too.
Let me in the building today.
When did the Blaze it? I have no idea. All of these right-wing grifting like news agencies, they're all the same to me.
Sad. Very sad. Very sad that Nick Recated would take part in such a...
Ralph won, apparently.
Such a sad event here. So...
Now, what happened here is that Ralph went down to the Blaze Studios to confront both Nick and Elijah. Nick was inside hiding, cowering at the Ralph male. And Elijah showed up and Ralph pressed him a little bit. And then they had some funny pictures of him standing outside the Blaze. And there was also, I think Ralph did a little truffle shuffle out there.
I was sitting around thinking, I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna come up to Blaze Studios, do a little ambush of my own. Then I made a few phone calls, and I thought they were gonna let me in, actually. But apparently the head people in charge here decided they weren't gonna let me in the building. So
what, are they scared?
Oh, here.
All right, here's when Elijah pulls up. This is the best part.
How's it going, man? Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I heard your producer wouldn't let me in, man.
Yep.
What's the deal? They said y'all weren't going to be talking about me tonight. Is that true? They've ever engaged in homosexual acts with men, Elijah?
Now, this is going to come up later in the stream, so it's important that Ralph was the first one maybe to report on this.
That's what I was
I also love like Ralph's reflection there. It's like so funny.
Elijah. That's what I was
You can see it there as the frame pauses. He's got his big Fed shirt as well. He's gay! I think this is stream buffering. It's not for me.
Yeah, what's up? Oh, man, sad, pathetic.
It's a classic Ralph.
Did you need help, sir? Yeah, they have me booked for the show today. Okay, so is there anything I can help you with now? Well, ask them.
Alright, that's about enough of that. Sad, pathetic. Yeah, there's something about the way Ralph says it. It's so funny. Now, I think after, like, I tried to put this together, but I don't really care too much about it. I'm more interested in the FREAKOUT parts. But after he left the Blaze, I believe he started Rift TV, which was valued at around $5 million. And he started a GoFundMe because he started getting sued by the FBI director's girlfriend, Kash Patel, for $5 million. He started a legal fund, and I remember hearing this because he went on Nick's show to talk about this. But it seems like, I tried to find details on this, it looks like he reduced the fund from $5 million to $50,000 because he knew he wasn't getting it, and he even didn't meet that. So he raised about $49,000 for this legal defense against Kash Patel's girlfriend. But I don't know where this went. It may have just gone directly into his pockets. People are still giving money as of about a month ago, though. So maybe it's like one of the things that's just still happening. All right, back to where was Milo's stuff. Don't think we need this one anymore. Don't need that anymore. All right, so this is back to Milo's stuff. Let's see. So Milo continues saying, it's safe to assume that everything about her life is just about to hit the internet. I believe they're talking about this woman here. And that is Sarah Stock. who allegedly aborted Elijah Schaffer's unborn child. Now, this is not his wife. That is an important part to know. And this seems to be the reason that they're getting divorced. Is you've got to, so the reason I left you and took the kids, you aren't allowed to fuck Sarah Stock. Now, this is a bit surprising because it seems like Elijah was a homo, but it turns out that he's apparently been banging a bunch of conservathought women's. And I believe that she just got married recently as well. So that's very sad. And Milo will actually go on to say that he was banging her until the very day before her marriage. Interesting. So start again at the beginning of my text. You know what this is about. You won't take it, but it's a very strong advice is that you get off the internet for 2 weeks and check in a rehab and be very, very fucking nice to your wife. Otherwise, or whether or not you have a professional future all depends on it. Nobody believes this horseshit you're posting about your car either. You got away with being a maniac for a while, but now the bill is due. Very true. You are a very poor liar, and it's not your forte. You should find another profession, one in which you only need the truth. If your husband... I guess this is in... Okay, so let's start with Sarah Sock. So this is Milo must be DMing Sarah here. Yeah. If your husband doesn't know, now is the time. I understand that you won't see it like this for a long time, but... as you can see from above, it is better for everyone that things come out in one burst today instead of metastasizing over weeks. Don't let him find out from anybody else. So this is a sad day. Post some Fs for Sarah Stock's husband. Very, very sad. Very sad. At least he got the car back though, bros. So let's fucking go. This is another one from Milo. It says, one last thing. One thing hasn't changed from Schaffer during his days as a youth pastor. He still likes things shoved up his bum. Oh my goodness. His fetish for pegging is sufficiently well known that it has been disclosed repeatedly, including by influencer Brittany Venti. Schaffer owns... I didn't read this. I read the first part. I didn't read the second part. Oh no. Schaffer owns his own electric dildo, which he has taken with him on vacations to El Salvador and other places. On these trips, he hires and brags about hiring female prostitutes, but spends so much of their time together being anally, mechanically penetrated by the hookers. He's pegged. Imagine, like, take anything to, like, apparently there's, like, these group chats, and this is where all the gossip is coming from, because all the girlies in the conservative thought space like to dish gossip about each other. And apparently this chick here, Sarah Stock, is the butt of most of it, as she's kind of replaced Lauren Southern, I guess, is that kind of role in the conservative movement. There's some wild leaks, though, man. This is pretty fucking wild. Oh, my goodness. I wonder if Milo's posted any more about this. He's gay. He's pegged. He's a sick freak. I hate these fake conservatives. That's the thing. It seems like, is there any real conservatives? It seems like any grifter that's asking for money in the conservative space. Maybe the only true one is Alex Jones, although he is selling his his soy pills, so who knows? Nobody knows who she is, though. I mean, I didn't know who she was, but I mean, I'm not really into this space of like blackpilling to a bunch of conservatives for their money. Don't know who any of these people are. Well, I guess we're about to find out. All right, let's have a look here. Do me a second. See if Milo's posted some more stuff. All right, we've got to be careful with Milo's Twitter. You never know, right? All right. Let's see. Lauren Southern has become kind of a cultural shorthand for vindictive, malicious, pathological liars, and most of the womanhead generally. So you can see here. What is this? To me, she's always had this look of reminiscent of Lauren Southern. A smugness, something that just makes me distrust these characters. There's the face these women make. She just looks like Lauren Southern in this pic. So this is that Kate chick, right? Oh, no, sorry. Sarah. This is that Sarah chick. She's talking to the Pope when she was boning Elijah Schaffer. Days before her marriage. On the night of her marriage, in fact, Milo said. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, let me scroll down a little bit here. It turns out that carrot weight is commensurate with her chastity. I do remember this post. Like, this is maybe the only time I've ever seen any of her content, is she posted this picture of her wedding ring, and a bunch of conservative thoughts were getting really fucking mad about this. Is having someone you love and desire proposed to not a win? It was directed at the girls. They attacked her because she said that she won. Yeah, I remember that. I was like wondering why people were like messing about with this. But apparently, where's the post that Marlo had that says this? Hold on a second. I got to go past these thirst pics of Schaffer. But Marlo warns people, you conservative ladies want to be careful gloating in your group chats about Star of Sock. When I know half a dozen of you fucked Elijah too. Oh no, say it ain't so. I just want to find the one where it says, oh, there's a couple here that I want to go with, actually. Let's see. All right, here we go. Here's some more details. That's good. All right. Put that one back there. I already just read that one, though. As a side note, I am profoundly disgusted by Sarah Stock's plainly counterfeit Catholicism. And it appalled me to my core that she had the nerve to rope the Holy Father into her deceptions. Behavior like this is why we had witch trials. And we got some more here. Let's see. Later, I'll share what it was like to work for Rift TV, and the vindictive way Schaffer retaliated against those who either tried to help him or who spoke out about his workplace and made them endure. Oh, and that BMW, he left it unlocked with the keys inside. More soon. Schaffer owns his own electric dildo. We read that one. Schaffer is on a cocktail of both illegal prescription drugs, including peptides and accelerants. He has been blacking out from excessive alcohol consumption in combination with these chemicals multiple days per week for years, as he confessed in this third recording. Why would you have why would you call Milo? He just records everything.
I'll just say this: I can't make you admit anything, say anything, but I will admit that I am playing a role in this, and that I am that it is immature, and that it should be dealt with differently. And I will also admit, outside of work, that my personal life, I'm having a hard time. And I'm trying to like figure it out. But obviously, I am stressed, and I'm not dealing with it the way I should be, and I'm not.
He's stressed.
It's not always that I'm up till 12. Like oftentimes, it's the same thing. If I don't drink, then I can't sleep. I can't sleep more than an hour. I'm tossing.
If I don't drink, then I can't sleep. Like, what a place to be in. Holy shit. Like, recently I had my health check, and even though I'm sick today, so this is probably not the best time to talk. But it's like, they're like, yeah, you could probably stop drinking a little bit. I'm like, all right. I basically haven't had anything to drink this entire year, except for when people order things, and they're like, oh, just here you go. I'm like, oh, well, I guess it'd be rude not to drink it.
I fall asleep at 6, and it's like, it may look like I was drinking the same thing or not. Do I drink sometimes? Yeah, and too much? Absolutely. I consider myself more like having a binge problem. Even if it is only a couple times in a week, it's like, yeah, I'll black out or whatever, and so that is problematic. And
it's problematic to just black out. I mean, I guess we've all been there. Who knows? Now, here's the question, chat. So Elijah Schaffer, when he was working at the Blaze, let me see if we got a picture of him. There you go. There's Elijah Schaffer for you. So he was working at the Blaze, and Nick went down the same day that the Ralph Mail went and pressed both of them. Now, Nick claims that he went to a bar after this, and he was roofied. And I've never bought audio too low. I can't really do much about that on StreamYard. Sorry. So Nick claims he was roofied when he went down there. I've always assumed that he just drunk a bunch of whiskey, because like Elijah Schaffer was giving out like 60 proof, or I guess not 60 proof, but I guess it'd be 120 proof shots of whiskey on his show. I think that Nick just drunk too much, and like maybe he didn't eat breakfast that day or something and passed out. But here's a question. And we always joked about this, that Nick got roofied by Elijah Schaffer so he could diddle him. Is that what happened? Is it true? Hold on, he was drugged by a guy in a gay blazer. Hey, like, I love blazers. I mean, nobody knows. We do know the facts of the matter is that Nick went down to the Blaze Studios. Then he went to a bar and he passed out. And his next recollection was on a bathroom floor with his wallet spread open and all of his credit cards on the floor. What do you think the chances are? 60-40 chance? He got the old Austin hello. I think they probably did drugs together. Like, they probably did drugs together, and then maybe one of them went home, passed out. Yeah, I've always wondered about that story. Never really bought it, honestly, to tell you the truth about it. Let me see if there's any new updates on this. Elijah probably wasn't at the bar. Actually, let me check his Twitter real quick. Let's see if he's posted anything. Okay, so he put up a new post 4 hours ago saying, my wife divorced me and took the kids. I have no idea where they are. I am sober. I'm sad. I mean, he's sad. I mean, this is like, he's such a piece of shit. Like, I don't feel bad for him at all. I gotta press exit down on this one. My wife and kids divorced me, took my kids. I have no idea where they are. That's probably for the best. Holy shit. I'm sober. Doubt. I'm sad. True. I had good support. I don't know if that's true. Thank you for everyone supporting me during this rough season. I'll get through it. Sad. Pathetic. Yes, indeed. He's an absolute lunatic. Indeed. Indeed. It's kind of funny because I think Sydney Watson came back through the woodwork as well. Like she was, she's like posting, saying like, I told you. I told you. She probably has her own problems though. Who could say? All right. I might check back on Elijah Schaffer later on. So we'll get into the Epstein stuff. So this is Jeffrey Epstein's final interview. He exposes everything. This came out a couple days ago. 2 days ago, in fact. But I haven't had time to watch it. It might be interesting. But before we get into that, a bit of humor. This is a phrase I'm going to say that's very, very rare. And that is, occasionally SNL posts something very funny. And they posted a very funny bit on this guy called Harvey Epstein. This is a real person, by the way. No, this guy's obviously an actor. But there's a real candidate in New York, and his name is Harvey Epstein. And it's like the worst luck you could possibly have. This is actually pretty funny. I don't know how much I can play this because they probably copyright strike me.
Really want to emphasize that I am not him and that I am not him. They are different people from each other, and they certainly didn't combine to form one person and make me. That never happened.
Harvey Epstein for city council, because together we can make this city Epstein's Island.
Let's not call it that.
This is actually really funny. I would love to watch the whole thing, but I know they'll copyright strike me. They talk about how he helps the minors, not children. This part's particularly good.
Epstein had their back.
Because
When the Mohawk Valley miners went on strike, Epstein had their back.
Because Epstein looks out for minors.
M-I-N.
Anyway, it's pretty good. All right, so let's get into this one. This is probably the drier part. What Trent Johnson said with the 5, though. It all went downhill for Elijah at the infamous Blaze party with a certain Hispanic host. Who are you talking about? Hispanic host? Do you mean like Nick Fuentes? Is that who you're talking about? I don't know. All right. Epstein's Island, full of printers, indeed. Forced boo. No, it's funny. Come on. It's boomer humor, but it's funny. All right, let's take a look at this. I mean, this is actually quite long, so I'm not sure how much we'll get through it. We'll try. If it actually loads. Apparently, there's some interesting things in here. Oh my goodness. Nothing works in this house.
Before we get into the deep stuff, let's give some basics or some things I want to do inquiry from the others. Walk me through the Santa Fe Institute. What was it about the time at the math? And this was in the
Let me know if the audio is okay.
So they're not going to hear me on this part, right? We're going to do it both ways?
It will not be on the video, but we do have it recorded.
Fine. Remember, when you're answering on these questions, I'm not in the shot, and they're never going to hear my voice. So a little bit, you got to repeat in your answer, you got to repeat what my question was.
Oh, right. Okay.
Santa Fe Institute. Why, when you're at the top of your game on Wall Street, do you decide to finance, which was at the time, or endow, or become the donor or sponsor, however you want to say it, for what was considered the most cutting-edge group of mathematicians in the world? Action.
Is this AI or not AI? No, it's not AI.
Santa Fe Institute in
it's
the
like
80s.
The Epstein leaks have been really interesting over the last few days, and someone actually made like a clone of Jeffrey Epstein's email account where you can go through and search everything. We might take a look through that, but like all sorts of crazy stuff came out, and like some of them are just funny and some of them are very sad. Obviously, like you probably heard the big bombshells, like not Bill Clinton. What was his name? Bill Gates. Bill Gates went to the island, and then he tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to get him STD medication that he could secretly slip to his wife, Melinda Gates, because he caught something. But some of the funnier details, like that's just sad and cringe. But like some of the funnier details is that Epstein actually had an Xbox Live account and he got banned. So there's a non-zero chance that if you were playing Call of Duty, like 10, 15 years ago, that Epstein called you the N slur and he got banned. He also tried to make a World of Warcraft account during Wrath of the Lich King, which is pretty crazy.
Early 90s. I was interested, I was on the board of Rockefeller. So that starts, Rockefeller University, formed by John D. Rockefeller to sort of give back to the community. It's east side of Manhattan, except it was old. It was sort of old-fashioned.
So Max Murrah says, this interview was with Jeffrey Epstein was produced by Steve Bannon to rescue Epstein's image. The latest Epstein drop on the U.S. Department of Justice site has the emails from Bannon and other strategies how to do this.
They were talking
I don't
about
think it worked, though.
medicine, and medicine by itself was, again, subject to the ideas of science. They were trying to use science to find cures for disease. And I said, no, we need to do something different. We need to start interdisciplinary work. In most,
How did a schmuck like you get on the board of Rockefeller? What year was that?
I don't remember.
Had a schmuck like you.
Late, I think 89 or 91.
So that's one of the most prestigious research places in the world, correct?
Yes.
Okay, how did it
Oh
get?
my god, I fucking hate Noam Chomsky so much. I don't know why, but like something about Noam Chomsky just rubs me the wrong way. Oh my god, he's like the world's most foremost linguist or something. Ugh. Let's hear what Noam Chomsky wants to say. Like bullshit. All throughout university, I had to hear about what Noam Chomsky wanted to say. I'm like, bullshit, shut up.
I like you get on the board of Rock, a blue blood, internationally known, hard research, Nobel Prize winners all over the place.
This is kind of the first time I've heard him speaking too. It's kind of weird. It turned like there's still a big mystery where he got his money from, because he wasn't a good trader. And there's all this mysterious stuff. They talk about mathematicians like making all these. It seems like he was just like a bullshitting con artist the entire time.
How do they pick a guy like you, a trader from,
Chomsky's been
basically
like
some
80
guy from Bear
forever.
Stearns?
Good question. So I was asked to be on the board of Rockefeller, and I think I was on the board of Rockefeller. There was a money manager who said Rockefeller needs someone with financial expertise because the university is growing and there's lots of new things. You have to, again, we go back to the original discussion the last time. Up until the mid-'80s, or sort of early mid-'70s, the most important thing was your name. If you were Rockefeller, you already were considered to be brilliant. If you were head of General Motors, it was your reputation. It was who you knew, who your family was, what was your character. And then in the mid-'70s, basically, if you remember, you probably had a calculator. It was very advanced in those days to have a Texas Instrument calculator, where it could, by putting in the numbers, it would multiply for you to do square roots.
Wait, what is this? Chomsky was a very, very bad man if you read his little memos about the Anguloid South, for example. What do you mean? Tell me more about this. Apparently there's also a Will Stancil update that he was on. He got mentioned on a caller by C-SPAN this morning. I might take a look at that later.
And that was the first, and everyone who had a calculator was already advanced on Wall Street. A simple calculator, almost like your accountant. The most important parts of business were really now going to calculations. So it's not only mathematics, but it's things that could be calculated. Reputation couldn't be calculated. I could give you, are you a 10 on a reputation scale, an 8? What does it mean to have a measurement of your reputation? We'll get to that later. But places like Rockefeller needed someone to say, look, we're entering a different world where numbers and the numbers of companies, portfolio management was going to be balanced. It was going to be statistical. Jeffrey, could you come on the board?
It sounds like you're just making shit up. Like, did he just bullshit his entire way through life? It's like, what did you actually do? Well, I came up with calculations of companies. Like, it just sounds like New York bullshit. And somehow he's just able to like get through this entire, like, obviously he was a monster. But like, I thought he was like some sort of genius. Some sort of financial trader genius, like hedge fund Warren Buffett type. It's all bullshit and blackmail. Well, the thing with the Epstein files is it seems like there wasn't any blackmail at all. I mean, he was just the party guy, and they did terrible things, but like blackmailing to get control. Like, I'm not sure if there's any proof of that. That's just the idea. It's like, well, look, surely he must have been doing that. That's how he got rich. Nobody knows. I mean, maybe it was all off the scenes and not off the servers or whatever. But
actually sit on the finance committee, Nancy Kissinger and a bunch of other people, and David Rockefeller and I got.
No, I don't trust the files, but like. He was into Bitcoin early, but gave up on it quickly. I saw there was like there's a few fake emails popping around. Like Josh Moon shared one of them, which was very funny. So a few L's for Josh Moon like, recently with that, like the Turkey Tom interview and then the Epstein email stuff.
He was an unbelievable human being.
Elon being too autistic to go to the parties is quite funny as well.
He introduced his driver as his colleague, not his driver. He would never say, this is my driver. He said, it's my colleague. And David started to explain to me world politics. So David would say, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I'm getting some Woody Allen vibes from this as well, Max.
Money is going to be sort of the most important things. People don't understand money. You seem to have this knack for money. I said to David, tell me about your life. What was the worst and the best part of your life? So David said,
Elon has a soul, apparently. I don't think so. I think Elon was just too autistic. Like he's too like when I said like people that are into have autism with trains or sand or whatever, they're too busy being autistic to get into any degeneracy. This is generally true. Like people into Warhammer usually aren't degenerates, which is kind of funny. But like you only ever hear like degenerate stories like Minecraft YouTubers or like all the Warhammer people are too busy spending their money on Warhammer figurines to get into anything degenerate. Which is interesting because you have like Slanesh and like the Chaos Demons of like XS and things like that in that storylines. I'm not sure where I was going with this at all. But like, no, yes, but Elon may be the case that he was too autistic to get into any of this. Now, Elon has his own degeneracy where he just is impregnated like 20 different bitches through like in vitro fertilization or some shit so he can try and make an elite army of super Chad sons. But one of them turned out to be a trans anyway. It seemed because like one of the email exchanges between Elon and Jeffrey, Elon was like just too stupid to know what they were talking about, and Epstein actually said to him like, "Why are you actually retarded?" Because he was trying to like, he's like, "Oh, we're going to the United Nations. Going to be some real interesting people there. Hey, Elon, you want to come?" And he's like, "I'm too busy with rockets to go talk to diplomats. What are you talking about?" And then he's just like, "Are you a retard? I'm talking about young women."
When I grew up, everyone knew I was a Rockefeller. They didn't know that my father told me he would not leave me a dime. No money. But every time we went out to eat, me and my 5 friends in school, they would leave me the bill. They would expect me to pick up the check because I was a Rockefeller. And he said, I was chairman of Chase Bank. And he said, I remember like it was yesterday, one of the headlines in Time magazine said, "David, please fire yourself." So he thought that there was a world that existed that would be a combination of both politics and business and leadership. What do I mean?
I mean, like, that's true, though, because, like, Nancy Pelosi is, like, the world's best trader in the world now.
He formed something called the Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission is some spooky stuff. People said it was something...
Fire yourself? I think when they said fire yourself, they were basically saying rope yourself.
People that, the Illuminati, there's a
exactly,
mystery about it, people that ran the world. It was politicians, but David said, most countries, the politicians get elected for 4 years or 8 years, separate from the royal families in England or in the Middle East. Someone's there for 4 years and then they're not there anymore. The most important people to have stability and consistency would be businessmen. So he formed this Trilateral Commission of businessmen and politicians from 3 major continents. So it was the North Americans, the Europeans, and the Asians. So he said to me, would you like to be on the Trilateral Commission? Now, I was 30 years.
Who are you backing on this team? The Americans, like this is a 3-way duel between the Americans, the Europeans, and the Asians. Saying the Asians will work together is such like, it's kind of a ridiculous statement. Because if you know anything about Asians, they all hate each other. Like, I could understand the Europeans working together. That makes more sense. But the idea that China is going to work with Japan, and it's going to work with fucking Vietnam. Well, maybe Vietnam, but I don't think so. Oh my goodness. Why? It's so crazy because Asians are all the same, but they all hate each other. Why? There's no reason for it.
Years old.
They insist there's differences, but there's not.
Years old. I said, great.
Just
and
culturally.
He said, well, you have to fill out this application so they have your bio. And I looked at the list of people, and it was Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, Paul Volcker.
People are saying that. I've been seeing a lot of gossip that Jeffrey Epstein is alive, and he like just ditched. He's like living on his secondary island now. I don't think so, but very funny little conspiracy theory.
Great leader in America, the Asians, the Japanese, and with a very long description of their history. And they asked me to fill in what I would like to have written, and I wrote Jeffrey Epstein, comma, just a good kid, which I thought was funny. Nobody else did.
I mean, if you say that ironically, it is kind of like morbid humor, I suppose. Oh, you can hear the Asian politics in the background, actually, maybe. The truck is going past. There's an election on the 8th here. Takaichi, is that it? Yeah, Takaichi. She held like a snap election in Japan, so like, it's kind of weird though, because it's like during winter, so there's like snows covering everything. Which is a really bad time to hold an election in Japan.
At that time, I recognized around the world
trying to consolidate power.
Monies and currencies were not really well understood. But again, it was only numbers. So numbers, and I'll get to the fact that it was bad thinking. Numbers are very good.
Are most people that you meet, even on the Trilateral Commission, when you meet most people, do you find most leaders financially illiterate? economically illiterate.
Most political leaders don't come out of a background of finance. Most political leaders come out of a background of being popular. So in some of the countries, in some of the African countries, for example, they might have been a military person. They were a general. In some of the African countries, they might have been a disc jockey. Or in our country, they would have been an actor.
Not the disc jockey, African warlord, politician, business leaders. He's just making this shit up. Or maybe this is the truest thing that they've been said.
Knowledge of money isn't, they don't have expertise, they have no degrees in finance. They really, and this is one of the major problems. Their expertise, if they have any financial knowledge, is
like the thing that really annoys me about every single Jeffrey Epstein email is he types like a retard. Maybe he was just too busy to type, to have any spell check or anything. It's really frustrating though. Like there's all these gaps and like commas and weird shit.
Their own checking account or bank account and filling in their own taxes. So many world leaders who don't really have a financial underpinning make fundamental errors when it comes to money on a country or institutional level. Let me give you an example.
All right.
If you, Mr. Bannon, if I said your assets increased last year, you'd say, that sounds pretty good. And I'd say, what does that mean to you? You'd say, well, I have more money. I guess I'm wealthier. I'd say, yes. And if your debt increased, would you feel wealthier or poorer? You'd say, well, I don't want to have increased debt. I don't like the idea of that sound, increased debt. Now, that and world leaders understand when their assets go up, they feel better.
He sounds like a dumb person trying to sound smart. Absolutely. How did he get into a position he was in? By holding the best parties. That's what it's coming out. It's like, it's just that he was just so good at holding the best parties that all the degenerate world leaders wanted to attend. And that's how he just did everything. He just figured out the age-old thing is you just get like a lot of hot chicks, that you'll get a lot of people to come to your house. Now, unfortunately, he was going for the hot chicks that were underage. And that's what they got him for, obviously. But like, it doesn't seem like anything he said is like insightful or meaningful. And now maybe he's just trying to cover his ass. I don't know.
However, institutions like banks, things that people don't really understand are financial underpinnings of banks. When I say your bank, Mr. Bannon, you have the Bannon Bank, you doubled your assets. Sounds good, but what does it really mean? It means people owe you more money. You don't have any money, more money. What? Yeah. A bank's assets are how much it is owed by other people. That's crazy. So if the bank goes from $2 billion of assets to $10 billion, it means people owe it an additional $8 billion, but their assets have gone up. So the terminology of assets and liabilities is different for banks. It's not natural. And what most people, and you ask questions about world leaders, there's many people, I think your old boss Mercer understood, there's a fundamental part of money, which is called fractionalized banking. And fractionalized banking is something that finance people understand, and the people on the street, and when I say people on the street, that's where I was when I started on Wall Street, would find it impossible to believe.
I mean, he's talking about fractional reserve banking, right? The idea that the bank has like a tenth of the money supply that actually like it loans out to people. Doesn't everybody like this? Sounds like such elementary stuff. Maybe it's just because they talk about this a lot online. It's like he kind of comes off as if he's dropping these like truth bombs that nobody would like, oh my god, have you heard about fractional reserve? And maybe I'm retarded. And he's talking about something different that's similar. But what is going on here? It actually seems like he's a brainlet. 99% of people don't understand money. There are people that think their house is an asset. It's 8%. They teach you this in basic school. I mean, it's just an example. I'm sure every bank could have its own different fractional reserve. Banks make more money loaning money to people. Wow. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought, like, despite him being an absolute monster, there was like a sort of mystique around Jeffrey Epstein that he was some sort of like criminal mastermind, like Dr. Evil type person. It seems like he may have just been a retard that was just Jewish enough to convince people he knew what he was talking about. And then he had like a lot of good parties. Obviously, everyone that went to those parties should be stoned. But like, this is such a weird, such a like a weird eye opener.
Why? Bannon Bank, I give you $1, just one single dollar. In our system of banking, I would say, okay, Steve, I gave you $1. How much can you lend out to your friends?
$10?
And your natural reaction would be probably something less than $1 because I want to keep something in my pocket. The way our system works is if you as a bank are holding my dollar, you can lend out an additional $8 or $9.
Oh, fuck, Czech was right. God damn you, Robinhood US. All right, whatever. I was only off by 20%.
No, it's impossible. I only have $1, Jeffrey. We have something called fractionalized reserves, which is if you have 1, you can lend out 9. That's the way our system works. And so not only do world
Base
leaders not
chat was
understand
right
banking,
again.
but the man on the street, my father who worked in the park department, it would be beyond his imagination that people could lend out more money than they actually had in their pocket. Next question.
Wait, how did this, in understanding that, when you get on something like the Trilateral Commission, you're on the board at Rockefeller, which is the most advanced research. You get brought into the Trilateral, which is the elite of the elite. How, since you're only at that time
30-something years old.
8 years from teaching at Dalton, right? You're Dalton.
No, 10 years.
10 years teaching at Dalton.
Yes.
Walk us through. I mean, put us in the room. Walk me through exactly what it felt like. What it felt like being on the board at Rockefeller. You got these Nobel laureates, and you're sitting there making decisions, and you start to meet these people at Rockefeller. Now you start to meet these people at the Trilateral Commission. What did it feel like?
It's a great question. So what did it feel
That's
like?
what I'm in the business of asking.
Yeah. What did it feel like meeting some of these people like Kissinger or Rockefeller? And those are two extraordinary people. But in general, I think the question, the people on Wall Street, I tell the story, the first day, one of the first days when I was in Wall Street, someone said to me, would you like to buy ATV? And I was looking in the brochure and I couldn't figure out what stock had a symbol of ATV. And when I finally said, well, I can't find it. And they said, what's the matter with you? Do you want to buy ATV? Which is, he was selling hot televisions, stolen televisions from the floor of the American Stock Exchange, referred to in common parlance as the televisions fell off the truck. So I knew what that phrase meant from Coney Island. But what I found was
actual
most
retard
people,
moment.
What be it in business, in normal life, or in the world leaders, don't really understand money. It is something they think about. They have a sense of what it is. They certainly want more of it. But they also make statements like, we want more money, but we don't want more debt, which just shows a misunderstanding of what money at its core
I think he was trying to tell a joke. Like, he thought that'd be really funny, but it was so obvious.
really is. So they don't, most people don't, they want to make it, they want to save it, but to understand it intimately is not a normal character.
At the first trilateral.
Oh no, what happened? Oh, I thought my internet cut out. No, it's the timer's still going. Okay.
Or something.
So I cut it out there.
Just give me approximate. You joined the
The cameraman fucked up.
Lateral
I
Commission.
think it might be.
And we'll be able to show that. We'll pull down the chart of where your name was, but just give me roughly when it was.
I think it could be 90. I don't remember.
Okay. Let's say early 90s.
Yes.
When you got on the Trilateral Commission and had the first, where was the? Do you remember where the first meeting was?
It was in Tokyo.
In Tokyo. And at what hotel?
I would like to say the Hilton, but it's probably not.
And it's a 3-day, 4-day? Give me some
three-day event. And
walk me through the whole thing.
Speeches.
It starts with a dinner. Just walk me through it.
It was boring.
You couldn't possibly think it was.
I think I've actually unironically stayed at the Hilton in Tokyo. It's really nice.
Boring.
It was boring.
You had to be stars in your eyes.
No.
Did you fly over privately?
Yes, but it wasn't my plane.
So it didn't count?
No.
You fly over.
Yes.
And
it was,
who were the first, like when you first met those leaders, you had to be wowed.
No.
You're 10 years out of Coney Island.
No, I'm not wowed by people of position. I'm wowed by people of great ideas. And I don't care if it's the bus driver.
How much did Bannon and Chomsky know when they were trying to repair this guy's image? Almost certainly all of it. I think if you're any way connected to Epstein, you've been to the island and you know what goes on there. I knew Epstein? No. No. I stayed at the Hilton, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was the Plaza. Wait, let me see. Is it the same place there? Hilton? If Max was still in the chat, he'd know, but he went back. I think maybe I did stay there. I think I did. I remember that like a couple of people were like having sex in the pool and they got sent back to New Zealand when I was there. It wasn't me though, obviously.
I don't care if it's the student I had who has teeth coming out.
Well, these guys have to have great ideas. They're the leaders of the 3 great continents of the world: North America, Europe, and Japan.
No, many of these world leaders become world leaders because they're popular and they were able to get votes or they were able to convince people to vote for them. I learned later.
Yeah, it's
many of them were just like good at what they did in terms of politics. Remember, world leaders are.
I've only ever lived on islands. I suppose this is true. I mean, Australia is both an island and a continent, I believe. But yes, I have lived only on islands. That's kind of weird. I'm on the list. No, but you know who is actually in the Epstein Islands is JF Garapi, because Epstein gave him like $20,000, which is kind of wild. But we already knew about this. This wasn't a hidden fact before.
Politicians in general. They're not scientists. They're not intellectuals. They're not great thinkers. They're great politicians.
At the first Trilateral Commission meeting that you remember in Tokyo in sometime in the early 90s, do you remember what were the big issues of the day that they were talking about, and what did you think about it?
Yeah, in fact, it was funny because they were talking about inflation, and they were worried that what would happen, how do you control inflation? And I, as a mathematician, I didn't understand the concept. I don't understand the concept today. How's that possible? Well,
he doesn't know shit.
When you talk about most things to do with money, money is meant to be local. It's US dollars. Then I understand what it means. If inflation, it means my dollar today inflates, and it doesn't buy as much as it did a couple of years ago.
Wow. How did this man get billions of dollars and every fucking world leader on his like private plane? Like, is this just an example of a guy that just like faked it till he made it? Like, he had no idea what he's doing. He kept like falling ass backwards into money. I'm actually like, this is one of those days when it's like, you're like, why do you even bother trying? Because people just do random bullshit and they just become rich.
The prices go up. I don't have. It seems that everything is great, but in fact, my dollar is shrinking.
Chomsky's a fraud. I agree with this.
If
I hate Chomsky.
And you're the financial genius here. I'm just a lowly.
You're the financial genius. I don't know how inflation works. It's making me mad for real.
Go ahead.
So if you're in America, you can feel inflation. Your salary's gone up, but you can't buy the same car. In fact, it starts to feel weird because the value.
That's why I wanted to ask the question. This is my point.
Sure.
The people who live and breathe this, the central banks, have been haunted by the specter of inflation since the late 70s.
I know this, but like, you know what I'm trying to say, I think.
Yes.
First off, tell our audience, how did that happen? The two great financial events in the 20th century, I'm not going to get to the 21st, were the great inflation in Europe after World War I, the Great Depression, the hyperinflation in Germany that led to the rise of Hitler, and then this inflation in the mid-70s. Before you go to explain inflation, why is the specter of inflation always the central thing in central bankers' minds?
This may be the case. He might just be pretending. That's actually like a Chad move to do that. There's a really fun deleted scene in Game of Thrones where like one of the maesters is like pretending to be a retard the entire time, and only Tywin Lannister knows it. I just mentioned that because I was watching The Hedge Knight, which is a good show so far. It's only a couple episodes in. Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, pretty good stuff.
Because it goes back to the first concept I said, the weird concept of fractional.
They are very tricky, his people.
Reserves. The system is not well understood. And most systems, in fact, are not well understood. We don't know how our digestive system.
Stop. This is impossible. The most.
We don't know. We don't know how the digestive system works. It's a mystery.
The world banking system, the world currency system, the world monetary system has to be so well understood by the Greenspans of the world and the Bernankes of the world and you, right? The currency traders, the guys making billion-dollar bets every day, the legendary guy on Wall Street in the late 90s, Versallen Brothers.
Lou Ranieri?
No, the guy that wrote the money.
Michael Lewis?
Don't trust Larry Poker?
Yeah, Larry Poker. Who's that about? That great trader.
Lou Ranieri.
No, it wasn't Lou, the guy that ran the desk. That eventually ran the hedge fund that went long-term capital.
Yes, I don't remember.
Who's the guy?
I want to say, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Lou Ranieri is big, but those guys have to understand the system perfectly.
No, they don't understand the system. They understand the local part of the system. So, for example, why is not only inflation, most bankers are terrified if the public understood that the bank really doesn't have their money at any one time. It's one of the things during the Depression, there were runs on the bank. The reason the banks don't keep much money in the actual bank is they assume that not everyone's going to want their money on the same day. So it's not really the fear of inflation. The fear is a run on the bank. Everybody wants to take out something that doesn't really exist. Inflation is tied.
This is like listening to like philosophy YouTube where they were like breaking these concepts down like 10, 15, 20 years ago. Where they're like, did you guys know about fractional reserve banking? Don't do a bank run. There'll be no money for everyone. Like, people parodied this in The Simpsons, is what, like, I feel like everybody knows this, but maybe I'm out of touch with the common man or something, especially the common American.
It's a more complicated example. But when your money doesn't buy the same amount of product this year than it did last year, if it buys less and less, like it happened, you used the term hyperinflation. There's certain countries that are not managed well, like in Africa at the current, a $100 billion bill, $100 billion bill in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, people have them as
one American cent. That's the perfect example of hyperinflation. It goes up, it doubles every day. So people are afraid that their value in the system starts to break down. But so if I said to you, does your doctor understand your body system?
I would hope so.
You'd say, well, I hope so, because I want him to keep me healthy. But you could have a kidney infection, you could have a heart attack, you could have a broken knee. There's lots of pieces of this system. And in fact, when you ask the question, very few doctors understand your entire body. There's a specialist for your knee, there's a specialist for your polynoidal cyst, there's a specialist for your head, and now we have specialists in different areas. So and I'm going to get to your first question about Santa.
So is he who's the specialist for the African DJ warlords and their banks?
Fe Institute. The world economy and your body are both comprised of little systems interacting with each other.
How did rich people fall for this?
One big system.
Are rich people actually the biggest retards, and this guy was just good at talking to them and inviting them to... I guess he just distracted them with a bunch of like underage TNA.
This is what's stunning for all the little guys out there, the populist movement, the little guys that haven't had a pay raise in 30 years. They think that these elites, have everything. They're the guys in the room making the decisions. They're the party of Davos guys. You're sitting there, you don't think many people today really understand the complexity and really all the moving pieces and how they interconnect with the world's financial system.
No, not only don't they understand the complexity, and
it's kind of wild how, like, you see all these people going for this, like, low-tier slop, like, sleuths. No matter how much money you get, no matter how much power you get, people seem to go for the worst people. I think Turkey Tom was a really good example of this, where he's making, like, $100,000 a month, and then he was going for these BPD, like, ticking time bombs. Does it all just wind down to this, and everyone's insecure about who they're dating and shit? This is why you must never simp. I'm learning this today. Well, not today, but like over the last few days, for sure.
Back to Santa Fe Institute.
Everything comes down to it. Turkey Tom, Elijah Schaffer, Epstein. It all comes back to one thing.
An attempt of trying to see if there was a way to mathematize, formularize, or algorithmically understand what the term complexity means. That goes back to the original question. Complex systems are complex by definition. But there's not necessarily, it's not one level of complexity. We might say, well, our fingers are complex, the movements, the muscles of our hands. But it's not as complex as the blood system. Now I have a circulatory system. I have systems on top of systems. So that there's no one group of or person that really understands the way the body works. There's no one group that understands the way the financial systems work. You might understand U.S. bond market. Now, you asked about the trade of long-term capital. That was a bond fund, very small part of this very complex system. So the goal of the Santa Fe Institute was to see, is there a way to somehow understand how complex systems interact? Fast forward, Steve, to...
Like I'm watching the pitch for chaos theory from Jurassic Park. But he's just translated this into the banking systems.
Today, where Google and these other engine companies, the other tech companies, are trying to build artificial intelligence. The strangest thing that they found, one of the strangest things, is that the systems that they design, this artificial intelligence, which a lot of people have heard about, is they design a bunch of systems, they're called neural nets.
He's
terms
trolling, maybe.
Taken out of brain work, neurons in the brain. Nets because they actually...
I just want to say, by the way, that I fucking called it. Like, there's that, like... You see all of the base retards on Twitter, like Grums. He's talking about, like, oh my goodness, there's a huge network of 20,000 AIs and they've made their own social media platform and they're talking about humans taking screenshots of them and they're gonna sue us. And I was like, this is the biggest fucking work flea circus I've seen of the year. And then it comes out like a day later that it was all bullshit. It was all just people LARPing as AIs to make it seem like the AIs were taking over.
Like a net. They put in some inputs. The computers work, spit out an answer. Sounds normal to you. It's because you're thinking about that calculator you had in 1976 on your desk. When you ask the person who designed the system, how did it come to that answer? How did your neural net, can you show me the calculations They say no.
Yes,
We
they
don't know.
can.
We don't know how the thing we designed actually came up with that answer.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. What do you mean?
That's pretty strange.
No, it isn't.
They take the same neural net now and they put it in front of a video game. No learning, nothing. They said to the computer, they say, sit in front of your video game and learn how to play. It seems the computer learns better than any human in history.
No, it doesn't.
Faster than any human.
Haven't you seen Twitch chat, like the fucking AI playing Pokemon? It just makes like a million mistakes until it gets it right.
History beats any human in history.
Nobody
But when you ask the design,
It's not true.
and how did it do it? No one knows. It just did it. So that's the first little touch of things that we already
actually getting
have
upset.
gotten to a place where we don't understand it, and we built it.
No, there's like, it's very easily explained by like multiple people. Like we were just looking at how like the large language models were working, and it's actually quite shocking how it does it. But like people have been training these AIs using humans for years, like just using captions and things like that. Like it's how I don't know how an AI could possibly recognize a car or a bus or a bicycle. It's because every time you type in a fucking caption on 4chan, you're identifying what a bicycle is to an AI network at Google.
On Sunday afternoon,
That's just one of the ways they do it, by the way. There's obviously multiple
September
methods.
14th, 2008, where were you?
Sorry,
It was the night they put Lehman Brothers in bankruptcy in London.
I was in jail.
Grokpedia. Don't tell me
Seriously?
about Grok.
Yes.
Fucking
So
Grokpedia.
the financial crisis of 2008 had
I'm feeling some real heavy Schadenfreude over like Grok not being successful. I'm sorry, Grok is so retarded. And to see that it's like hemorrhaging money to the point where Elon Musk had to merge XAI with what the fuck is it called? Like SpaceX, like a couple days ago, because that's the only way that the profit is that's the only way the open IPO is gonna work. It's the same thing, exactly the same thing it did with Solar City and Tesla. Like, oh, we're gonna merge XAI with SpaceX and make data centers in space. That's what. No, it's because it's hemorrhaging money, billions of dollars. People are waiting. Like the AI crash that's coming is going to be so satisfying. And that's not to say that you can't use AI for good. Like there are some very good use cases for AI, but the amount of like RAM we're burning through to make like these fucking cat videos, and people are like, oh, the AI is just going to get better and better and better. All right, let's make the RAM for it then. Let's see. Most of the AI companies are burning money, and there's no use case for it yet, and it's so funny. It's a massive Ponzi scheme, yes, true.
happened when you were in jail?
Yes.
Oh, this is going to be so amazing. That's going to be so amazing.
But that's true. You can make cartoon trolls with Will Stancil, which is very funny. We'll have the quick Will Stancil interlude. Apparently, Linda, who is the what's her name? The chick that's like person responsible for destroying Will Stancil's like the Will Stancil show got mentioned on a caller on C-SPAN this morning, and it appears that the host knew exactly what he was talking about. Let's go.
Go to the house when they do come in, but until then, your calls with Ankush Kaduri. Jack is in.
This guy's been working out at the fucking library. Look at that.
In Texas, Republican. Jack, good morning to you.
Yes, hello, Mr. Kadori. It's a pleasure to speak with you. This is Jack Strickland. I would like to get your thoughts on a very specific example of political extremism related to events surrounding ICE activity. This actually involves a former attorney with the Rhode Island law firm of Hyde, Rochford, and Carroll. His name is Will Stancil, and he's an overt white nationalist who is currently wanted by the FBI. Stancil.
This is when you hide your laugh with a drink.
Has a very large following among the far right, and he recently released a pro-ICE manifesto titled "It Do in Fact Be Like That."
Okay.
That's pretty
We can
good.
prosecute a case here.
This is not
on
true.
air.
This is not true. This guy is trying to embarrass and tarnish this guy named Will
It's
Stancil.
the Will Stancil show.
We'll go to Don in Arizona, Democrat. Good morning.
He knows. He knows. Based Will Stancil enjoyer.
Arizona, Democrat. Good.
Fucking Megamind couldn't tell out that this was fake. This guy picked it up immediately. That's too funny. Thank you for sending that through. All right, back to the Epstein stuff.
I take it you didn't have your Wall Street Journal dropped off to you in the morning, your Financial Times.
Shut it down.
No.
He knows.
How did you hear about because I want
I forgot about this, but yes.
I'm trying to get this. Is going to be amazing. This is. Let's go back and do that again. Sunday afternoon, because I want to find out about people, the geniuses understanding the complexity of the financial system. Because I think the best example we have is the financial crisis, the crash of 2008. Sunday afternoon, September 14th, I think it was, 2008, is when they were working feverishly in Midtown Manhattan at the Lehman Brothers offices and at various law firms around town, and with the Secretary of Treasury in the Federal Reserve, what they're going to do with Lehman. They decided they weren't going to save it. And so they prepared to put it into bankruptcy at the open of the market in London the next day. How did you hear about what was going to happen to Lehman Brothers, and what did you immediately think when you heard that it was going to be put into bankruptcy?
I'm glad you asked that question. I was in solitary confinement September 14th. And again, some of the public...
I don't know what you're talking about. I was in solitary confinement. I couldn't have been related to that at all.
Stories about the wonderful time I had in jail and my work release, which didn't come till months after. I'd been there since June in an 8x10 cell with a bed in the back, a 6-foot bed in the back.
It's very convenient, Mr. Epstein. Almost too convenient.
A chrome sink with a toilet attached to it, and a little piece of metal sticking out that was supposed to act as a table. Now, since I was in jail, there were no books. Why?
They've got books in jail?
No library, but you're in jail. No, I was in jail, not prison. So
jails have libraries. Sometimes, not all the time. They have like the book card. I've seen it on The Simpsons, okay?
So in jail, I was in a place that was called the Special Housing Unit. Which
so
is
you're just staying in the
roughest, meanest people.
No, it was probably like luxury resort shit.
They had put me there, they said, for my own protection. So I was in an 8x10 cell with a little slit in the door where they would serve my food on a tray about 9 inches by 4 inches. And then as soon as I finished eating, they would take the tray and close it.
Some jails have libraries, okay? Some jails have books. Maybe not libraries, but they have fucking books to give out to people, okay? Not every jail. I know the difference between jail and prison.
Down. And one of the guards said, do you understand there's Wall Street's crashing. I'm worried about my pension fund. What should I do? And I said, sorry, Wall Street's crashing? What's happened? And he said this.
Oh my God, Wall Street's crashing? I have no idea about this. Hides his little iPad and his fake book.
Some crisis and some companies are going bankrupt. I said, are you sure? And he said, yeah, it's all over the papers. We're all terrified. We're going to lose our life savings because we have either a 401.
Name one American jail with a library. Sure. The Stanford jail. There you go.
Okay, our pension funds.
Go
we don't
check
know anything about
get
money.
Back to me.
Mr. Epstein, can you tell us what's going on? Am I going to be able to afford my children's education? Am I going to be bankrupt like this company called Lehman Brothers? And there's another company in the front page today called Bear Stearns. Oh no, I said. Why? Because that's the company I was a partner in.
Look, I've got actual footage. I've got actual footage of a book in a jail with a library, okay? Right here. Right here.
Would you care for some reading material?
This could be useful.
All right, the fact that it says prison is incidental. Okay, I was in a jail, not a prison in this scene. Okay, fucking book. But Homo, I know that it said prison, but he was in a jail at the time. You don't understand. No, not like this.
In fact, that was a company I had a very large investment in. So, as a great story, I didn't have my Wall Street Journal, but in the early mornings, you're allowed to make 2 phone calls, collect. And when you pick up the phone, you can dial a number, and when the person picks up, they say, you're getting a call from the Palm Beach County Jail. Will you accept reverse charges? And the person either says yes, and the call goes through, or the person says no. The person I called was Jimmy Kane, the president of Bear Stearns. And I said, tell me what's going on. And so that my knowledge of the financial crisis happened with Jimmy, who was at the center of the storm, telling me about what Lehman had gone under, and they were trying to figure out a way, should they bail out Bear Stearns?
Did it strike you at the time of the mess you had made of your life to be in a situation that you're one of the greatest financial minds in the world, looked at by world leaders and asked your thinking by the most prominent and important people in the world, and here you are in solitary confinement. You got to make a collect call to somebody. Did it?
What does it even mean if you can make calls from solitary confinement? Like, isn't that supposed to be confined? Solitary? You're just like, oh, I get to make some phone calls. Oh, that's nice.
Strike you at the time how all the threads of your life had come together and put you in a position, or you had put yourself in that position?
No.
So it never struck you when you had to make one of your 50% of your collect calls that day, you call the president or the head of the CEO of Bear Stearns. The biggest financial event in your life is taking place, of which one, every important person in the world would be seeking your opinion. Number two would be a once in a lifetime opportunity to.
This is literally like he gets to make one call from prison. Would you accept a call from the Stanford City Jail? Yes. He bought Doompit. That's what's going on here.
Apply your craft. Number three, it would be a once in a lifetime opportunity to make money if you were smart, and obviously you're smart. You're telling me here, truthfully, that it never.
This is actually a base move. It makes people trust you.
Hit you
if
at
you just
all
go like this
of
about everything.
how you ended up in a place.
It actually makes you
had
look
to
more
make
trustworthy.
A collect phone call.
Like actually,
from
chat.
a jail cell.
Believe me when I say that if you walk around and just say everything like this, people will believe you more. You become more reputable. There's just something about this. It's true because I said it like that too. So there you go.
That was 6x9 with a steel bed and your food being passed into a slot.
The question you want to ask is, who was the other call to?
Okay, who was the other call to?
The other call was to my friend at J.P. Morgan, who was then, I didn't know at the time, trying to buy Bear Stearns. So at one point, I had two phones. It was difficult because they're afraid people are going to hang themselves with the phone cord. So they don't actually come together and they're pretty short. So I was actually going between two phones talking to Bear
Surely you could hang yourself without the
Stearns and J.P. Morgan at the same time. So I found it amusing.
And it never struck you about how to end up in a situation like this?
No, that would be probably means I would be too self-aware.
You can't possibly expect me to believe this.
I know. I don't believe it.
It's no, you're telling me that during that day, you never had a moment. You sat there and go, what the fuck have I done with my life? And I'm in a 6x9 jail cell when I should be on a train desk or I should be in my $250 million, greatest townhouse in New York City, taking calls from the king of Saudi Arabia, the president of China, the head of Russia, the president of the United States to save the world's population from a financial debacle. You honestly expect me to believe that never happened?
You're suggesting I was somewhat depressed, and how could this happen to me?
I'm not saying depressed. I'm saying a moment of awareness of how could I get myself into this situation.
No, I would just say how strange that this happens.
How strange.
It's strange.
It's weird. It's funny.
I'm wearing a jumpsuit and flip-flops.
What color was the jumpsuit?
Brown. Brown.
Brown jumpsuit?
Yes.
I notice I don't see you in a lot of brown.
No.
Brown jumpsuit and flip-flops?
Flip-flops, yes.
With no access to books, no access to newspapers,
no access to anything.
You had lived on information.
Except my Almond Joy bars. I had extra Almond Joy bars.
Did you eat Almond Joy bars and things like that because you're afraid of what the cooks did to your food?
Yes.
Is that because...
If you're worried about being poisoned by the jail chef, and you're just going to eat the Almond Joy... Like, they can mess with Almond Joy bars. Like, what the fuck?
That you were in for the crimes that you were in for?
No, it was just in fact, I was.
It was because you're wealthy?
Yes.
How did you know that?
Well, people
I couldn't get a fucking book or a newspaper, but I had Almond Joys. Okay, buddy.
Constantly, if I was passing by or I'd have to go for my medical, people would either ask to borrow money or make some other types of comments about. In the beginning,
what were the comments? At the beginning, what were the comments?
Almond Joy is pretty good though. What are those like almond finger cakes? Do you guys remember these? Like I can't for the life of me find them here. I have a massive craving for these things. I think they're called almond fingers. This might be a British snack. Almond finger. Do you guys have these? These things are so like I can eat these by like the dozen. They're so good. The almond fingers. These ones in particular. The Royal Almond Fingers by I guess Regal Foods. I don't know. I go crazy for these things. Like you open the bag and they smell so nice. You just like that almond essence like comes out. It's so good. Nice for trifles. Yeah. That's what you have to like make them for trifles and stuff. Yeah, that's right.
It serves you fucking rich guys right that you're here next to me.
There was nothing about your crimes.
No.
So all this
yeah, it's British. It's British food, but it's good.
About people in prison that commit the type of crimes you commit. That's you're saying in your personal thing is not true.
No.
It was all because you were rich.
Yes.
And it was all because they wanted to borrow money.
Or get advice. Yes.
Where they get advice to go long.
Yes,
you're telling me
is this time to buy?
You're telling me in solitary confinement they were interested in going long.
He bought.
Yeah. They wanted to know
what does that say about human nature?
Well, what I think the people find one of the reasons they wanted to keep me in solitary confinement was they're afraid that everybody would want to know which stocks to buy. And,
Oh my
but
God.
what happened was, after this crisis, now it's on the front page of every news.
We can't let all of the prisoners get financial advice while he's in prison. They're going to get out of here and make really safe investments into the future. Oh my goodness. It's what a fucking larp. Jeffrey Epstein, what should I buy? Like, I don't know, just buy S&P 500. Just, practice dollar cost averaging. Whoa, we can't let the prisoners know this. Wow, amazing.
I don't want to lose this day.
Sorry.
When you
This
first
is
heard
such a
that,
larp.
did you...
There are no almond joys
Was
in
it Bear
2019.
Stearns?
I actually looked up almond joys. I've never seen one before. They look like a coconut bar to me. They're like, there's more coconut than almond, I think, in those things.
Stearns had been kicked into bankruptcy, 6 months before?
No, it's the same time. This is part of the same deal.
I thought, no. Bear Stearns, they saved Bear Stearns and didn't
We're in the
save
Bernstein
Lehman Brothers. That's
Right,
it.
they
6
like-
months before they had bailed out Bear Stearns, but Bear Stearns was still a zombie,
A shell of its former self.
a former self. But they had quote unquote saved it. They admit. Why did they make?
There's a guy on Twitter who just like talks about Japanese stocks that he buys, and he always talks about just getting dividend stocks and getting like cigarette companies. So I think cigarette companies are a pretty bad investment, honestly. Although historically they have done quite well. You know what's crazy is that like there's a type of bird that like now searches for used cigarette butts because they're very insect repellent. So they make really good nest lining. So they've got these nicotine addicted birds out there now.
Make the decision in your mind. Why did Hank Paulson in Bernanke what's this concept of moral hazard? Explain to the audience what moral hazard is, and why did they save Bear Stearns 6 months before, and why did the smartest guys in the room decide not to save Lehman Brothers?
It's a good question. The real issue is I'd have to go back when you have these systems to the way your doctor responds to any type of emergency in your body. If they might decide to save your kidneys and let your gallbladder go because the gallbladder is less important to your overall system.
That's not really how it works. You don't get to pick and choose. I mean, maybe you get like a foot amputated because you need to have it right, like for some shit like cancer or something. But it's not like, can I take one kidney and a gallbladder over the liver? And like, yeah, we can min-max that. That's not how it fucking works.
That time,
Getting lost in the
it's
details.
not
at some
that long
point,
ago. The boogeyman was when said, well, what really happened? Jeffrey, what really happened? What is this financial crisis? And, some of the progressives and the right wing blame it on the banks. It was the banks' fault. And it's the fault of this very esoteric, unknown concept of derivatives. It was really the derivatives that caused this financial crisis because the derivatives got somehow out of control and in the Mickey Mouse.
And that was the way you started your road
You
to
can take your ballsy ears. I think I'll get rid of the ears. I mean, if I'm wearing headphones, nobody can tell I have ears anyway.
There went right through derivatives.
Yes. But derivatives were not the cause. Derivatives were not the cause at all. It's like saying your hair was the cause of your heart attack because it was on top of your head.
So what
when you
was the
fell down.
cause?
I mean, maybe if you're suffering from, what is it? GBH, graft versus host. That thing that Tobias Funke had in Arrested Development, where their hair transplant was rejecting his body.
There isn't, let me say, there's no one specific cause. These are system collapses. So many times when they have to make your death certificate, when you say, well, what did he die from? They'll say heart failure.
What did you die from? Not killing yourself?
But if you say, what was the cause of his heart failure? Well, he had low blood pressure, his sugar was high, he was diabetic, he had all these other problems. But they say, no, we need a word on your death certificate. Did he die from brain damage? Did he die from heart failure? And that's the financial crisis. People said, well, what caused it? They wrote, like on its death certificate, derivatives. But derivatives were not a fundamental, derivatives are not a fundamental cause of anything.
Was it Sunday or Monday? I take it was Monday morning when you made your two collect calls and you were talking to Bear Stearns on one hand and Morgan Stanley on the other.
JP Morgan.
JP Morgan. Did you, that was Monday morning. Did you, Jeffrey, being one of the financial geniuses in the world, did you understand what Lehman Brothers going into bankruptcy, the domino effect, that by Thursday the financial system would be under such extremis that if it didn't have $1 trillion cash infusion in the United States, it might collapse? Did you know that at the time? Did you view that at the time?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
Why?
Again, I don't want to bore you or the audience with the idea of it's a medical procedure, but you had system failures. So you'd recognize that if I said to you, did you realize when your father was on the ground and he was clutching his chest and he couldn't breathe, it was a bad situation and he could die. That's how I saw it.
Did you immediately think about the commercial paper market? I mean, the mechanical triggers that actually you had to blow through these circuit boards. Did you know the circuits? Did you understand the circuits? Or did you have a concept of the circuits that were going to get blown through?
Yes, but only because of an analogy to a body. And in fact, from my telephones against the wall with my little metal wires, because the next day I talked to another person in Washington about the issues of what I thought was happening, and I made the same discussion about the...
They were at the Treasury Department?
Yes.
So in a 6x9 cell in...
The phones were outside the cell.
In Palm Beach County, California?
West Palm Beach, Florida.
West Palm Beach, Florida.
That's what your juice diet.
West Palm Beach, Florida. West Palm Beach, Florida. West Palm Beach, Florida. You're making a call to Washington, D.C. to talk to some deputy secretary of Treasury.
Someone in Treasury.
Right. Someone in Treasury.
Right.
And that does not, the night before you go to bed, it doesn't dawn on you at all. You never have a moment of self-reflection that, how did I end up on this metal cot when I should be at the center of things?
No, I had a telephone, so I said, I can talk to, it makes no difference where I am, in fact. I'm still talking to the same person if I was at my home in Palm Beach. But I'm here in jail.
Home in Palm Beach.
I can dial my own phone.
That's bullshit. No, but you can also make 1,000 phone calls. Here you got to make one, and he's got to take.
Think how much better that was. I had to decide who was the right person to call. That was unusual for me, because I would have called 20 people.
And
before.
what was the advice you gave?
I said, you have a sick patient, and it's very much like a sick patient in the emergency room. You can't think about it like your car.
I think this is so. This video is really a testament to how monotonous you can be and still be somewhat evil, just more sad. I think this is part of the strategy. If you just gish gallop and talk about nothing for like a long time, you can get away with almost anything because people just lose interest. You just talk about systems falling apart or something.
People in normal walks of life think about money and things as a machine.
This is literally like Grandpa Simpson, like telling his stories that don't go anywhere.
Unfortunately, so if your car breaks, cars are always easy to fix. My jets, my cars, if it breaks, I know it can be fixed because it simply follows the same pattern. If this part breaks, you replace the part and the thing works again. People and the financial system are not machines. They can't be fixed the same way. You can't simply take out put some more juice into the commercial paper market, and that's like replacing the carburetor on the car. It's much more, I have a patient who can't breathe, has a stomach problem, can't see, looks bleeding at the same time. What do I do first? I have to think about it as a system. Where's the most logical place? What's the most dangerous place? If your heart stopped, we have to start your heart again. If the equivalent to the money market.
And like, I don't believe this for a second. Like, I feel like you could easily fix the financial system just by replacing the broken parts. Just get rid of all the insolvent banks and replace them with good ones.
Why do I have to start your heart again? I need to get your blood flowing.
Like, the idea that we have to keep them on life support is ridiculous. They should fail if they failed.
Stops, you're dead. If liquidity, which is the equivalent of blood in the financial system, dries up.
Once liquidity is basically cash, putting cash into the system.
Forget about what it is.
Okay.
Liquidity is liquidity. It allows the system.
Wait, can I just clarify this? Is liquidity money? Forget about what I said. Like, we're talking about blood here.
It's the blood of the system. You need to pump blood hard into the body of the
economy. But what is the blood?
To keep it flowing. And if you especially when you're worried about someone dying, you're not going to be worried about the niceties of, well, you got the shirt dirty and there was some damage. Pumping that blood, keep that.
When you talked to the person in Treasury on Tuesday, the 16th, did you get a feeling as you were sitting in your 6x9 jail cell in West Palm Beach, Florida, that they were on top of things?
No, you can't. It's impossible to be on top of things. There's no such thing.
Apart from the children on your island, apparently.
It's, again, the doctor watching the patient die. You hopefully have some confidence that he's seen it before. He recognizes that there are some steps he has to take first before he bandages the guy's finger or worries about what shoes he has on. So you hope that the people in charge, your doctors who
He's bleeding out, Doc. He's bleeding out, Doc. What do we do? Let's check his fit. Is he wearing Nikes or Adidas?
Working on the emergency patient have enough experience and, frankly, judgment to try to keep the patient alive.
Did you think that they had those things, patience and judgment?
They had pretty good judgment, and you needed a lot of luck, just like in the dead patient. You need to, hopefully you put that blood in and it's not too late.
What? And if they're dead, they're dead.
And you make some mistakes, but you have to know you're going to have to give it a shock.
In the run-up to the September crash of 2008,
yeah.
I guess you weren't occupied with finance. That whole summer, how long had you been in jail?
Went to jail June 30th.
So the entire summer?
Yes.
Before you went into jail, you were still very active in the financial markets?
Yes.
When you say active, you trade currencies every day, you trade stocks every day. When people,
I don't do
someone like you, or give
advice. What does he do? This is good. Like, this is a good question. What do you actually fucking do, Mr. Epstein? Apart from children.
I don't trade every day. I think that's Like
Which
Woody
days
Allen
do you
said,
trade?
you can't beat the bank.
Oh my goodness, did he actually say Woody Allen?
I don't trade every day. I think that's, like Woody Allen said, you can't beat the bank. So I try to pick my spots. George Soros picked his spot when the pound collapsed. This would have been a great money-making opportunity that passed me by when I was in jail, but that's not how I think.
In the run-up to that, in the spring of 2008, that's when Bear Stearns got in problems, I think, in the spring of 2008, and they decided to bail it out. Did the Bear Stearns guys talk to you for advice at that time, in the big crisis in Bear Stearns?
No, but see, again, unbeknownst to most people, and it's easy to blame people for the financial crisis, like you'd blame someone for giving your father the drink before he had his heart attack. But what really happened, the real enemy of the finance system was Bill Clinton. And if you ask me what and who caused the financial crisis, I would tell you it was Bill Clinton.
Because of what Bob Rubin and he did to deregulate the financial system?
No.
Okay, then why?
Because as of the last time we had our 60-minute interview, you talked to me about home ownership. And you asked me whether everyone should own a home. And I told you no, it's too risky.
So the financial collapse of 2008 is because of hardworking African Americans, Hispanics, and whites who wanted to have a ownership stake in the society that all rests on their shoulders. They're the culprits.
No, not at all.
Okay, then
I didn't say they were the culprits. I was pretty clear it was Bill Clinton.
Okay.
And why was
Can
it
you
Bill
explain?
Clinton? Because Bill Clinton wanted to get votes from those people. And he sold them the idea that instead of renting in a house, and historically the values of houses have gone up, and he said, you guys in these local communities who haven't been able to afford a house before, I'm going to show you a way. I'm going to give you a way, because I'm sure I'll get your vote, that you can own a house, because I want your vote. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let you buy a house, Mr. Bannon, when you really, you're right on the border, maybe, or not even on the border. Your credit is not good. Okay, let's be honest. And it's not my fault, it's not Bill Clinton's fault, but if whatever happens, at the moment your credit score or whatever it is, your credit's not good. Now, normally, you come to me and want to borrow money, I'm a bank, and I say, I'm sorry, Mr. Bannon, I can't lend you money because your credit score is not up to where it needs to be. Hopefully, if you work harder and clean up some of your problems, it will be. But no, what I say to you is, I'm going to figure out a way to lend you, not give you. I'm going to lend you money anyway, though you don't have a good credit score. And don't worry, I'm going to get rid of the term that you don't have bad credit. Bad credit sounds pejorative. You don't want to be a person.
Sounds judgmental.
Yeah, it sounds judgmental. So what we're going to do is we're going to call your credit situation subprime. Oh, nobody knows what that means. Subprime.
I mean, I know what it means in the aisle. It means you're like not quite a fully grown dinosaur.
That means prime is good credit.
I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory though. Like obviously they're less than ideal.
Subprime is not good credit, less than good credit. So we'll call it something that people really won't follow, and we'll tell you what, we're going to have people lend you money though you are a subprime borrower. And I
just realized I probably shouldn't be mentioning the aisle while we're listening to a Jeffrey Epstein interview. It might be not the best time to talk about our island. Anyway.
We'll figure out some government agencies to guarantee your loan. No, I don't think you're a good risk. So the banks say, no. We don't want, initially. The banks say, sorry, this is too risky, Mr. President, for us. We're in the business of managing risk. It's not our money. It's the hard-working people's money sitting in our bank. We can't lend to people whose credit is not prime. You're asking us to lend to people who are subprime. And he says, here's the key, if you don't, Mr. Bannon, I'm going to make sure the Justice Department charges you with discriminatory lending because you refuse to lend to my subprimers. In business terms, you should never lend to.
Do you know how many islands there are in Japan? Like, unironically, there's like 2,000 over. There's quite a few. I've been to many. I was in an island recently, actually, unironically. I mean, a smaller island than the one I'm currently on.
But what we'll do is I'm going to form an agency called Fannie Mae and Ginnie Mae, just another agency names. They'll guarantee your loan. So don't worry. Don't worry. You don't have to pay it back anymore. Even though and maybe you
Yes,
don't
it
even
did,
have to work as hard anymore. That's probably a harsh statement, but these
I could show you the sand if I really felt like it. I actually have videos of the microscopic sand and the shapes.
players, these two big firms, Fannie Mae, will guarantee the fact that that bank will receive its money. Now, the bank says, wow, best deal in history. I refused to lend to Mr. Bannon, but now he has the big brother, his Uncle Sam. He went to his Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam says, I'm guaranteeing it. The bank says, I want everybody. Give me as many people as you can give me, because Uncle Sam is the best credit in the world. Not only it's the United States government. We'll take it all. We'll take as much subprime as we can handle, because it's the best investment for the moment. It's a strange investment because it has politics that has inserted its way into the numbers. Politics doesn't belong in the markets. But now we're going to have, I want the votes, we'll make guarantees that you who can't get a house normally will be able to get a house from the bank. The bank says, this is the best deal in history. We will package 100, 300, 1,000 of you subprimers, and we'll sell it off to somebody else. And the whole system becomes mired in subprime mortgages. That's becomes the
What do you
issue.
mean mired? There's just too much supply. It's a supply-demand problem. You get too much supply.
No, it's a very good question. What does too much supply mean? Well, then you get to people, go back to your first question to me. Government leaders. Government leaders know if they're good, and they can do mathematics, they can balance their checkbooks. So certain people in Congress said, well, how do you value these subprime mortgages? The banks say, we've been valuing them the same way we've always valued them for the past 20 years. The accounting firms, there's something in this country called GAAP accounting, which is a standard type of accounting. And we account for them the same way we've always accounted for them. If we paid $1,000 for your mortgage last night.
Yes, too many subprime humans bought too many houses. It's all Bill Clinton's fault, appeasing. I don't know who they're talking about. This could be anyone, I suppose.
When we put it on our books today, we're going to say its value is $1,000. It makes sense. I paid for it. What's its value? It's $1,000. That's what I paid for it last night. No,
Sand is very small rocks, isn't it? Silica?
the Congress
sure.
people said
You can
that's
make
not
rocks
really
into
a good
sand,
answer.
but
You know,
rocks, sand isn't necessarily
that doesn't give
rocks.
us confidence that you know what you're doing, because what happens if you have to sell it tomorrow morning? If something's happened and you have to sell it. Remember, there's kinds of stress tests. Would you be able to value it at what you paid for it the day before? And Wall Street says, that's not the way you can think about this. This is crazy. We always value things at the cost from the day before. And they changed the accounting method, in essence, to say, not what it was worth yesterday, but if I have to sell, what would it be worth? That's impossible. So what happens is, every bank now has to value something they bought yesterday at lower than they paid. Never before in 20
Those dummies, they bought high and sold low. Like an elementary mistake.
years that they have to do this. So something they bought at 1,000, on their books was 1,000, is now 990. That starts to, you asked the question about what did I start to think about. Something's 1,000 and 990, this person now has to value it at 980.
When did you first start to get nervous? Understand.
Right. What's the time gap from this? Like,
1,000 and 990, this person now has to value it at 980.
When did you first start?
He's changed shirts. We just switched over from the Bearstein universe to the Berenstain universe.
Something's 1,000 and 990, this person now has to value it at 980.
When did you first start to get nervous?
Like the timer keep going though. It's like, this seems like, what the fuck? You can't just keep the timer going if he's changed shirts. There has to be a new timer.
Understand Bill Clinton in all this. Did you change glasses?
Yes.
Okay.
I changed shirt.
I saw that black.
What? Why has he changed shirt in between interviews? Was he getting too sweaty talking about all the subprime people?
Yeah, great. I think we're going to have all kinds of changes.
Now he's
let's
nega
go to that.
Epstein?
Um,
Okay.
When did you get a feeling?
He's
Did you
going
ever
mask off now.
anticipate before it happened, something like 2008 could happen?
No.
How could that be?
They've replaced him with Anthony Bourdain now.
It's the word I'm going to beat it to death, is that it's very much like would I anticipate I'll have a heart attack tomorrow? Unlikely.
Was 2008 a heart attack or a stroke? Debilitating.
It's a better. I don't. It was both. Why was it both? Because, in fact, as I said,
It's like cancer rates. It's a stroke heart attack.
blood was getting dried up in the system, and the head, which is sort of the central bank, wasn't working. So to some extent, it was a combination. It was a crisis.
Did you see that building up over time?
It's always been lurking in the background. I mean, if you have an older parent, would you say it's possible? Did you anticipate him having a heart attack today? No, you hope things are going to go better and maybe they'll fix it up. The system was getting too complex, and it wasn't based.
They did a bump. What do you want to change it to the white shirt if you're doing bumps? Because like, I feel like that would show up on a black shirt.
Derivatives, because what people keep forgetting, and as I was just explaining, Wall Street, and in many professions, including Wall Street makes it sound complicated. They don't want the little guy to understand what they do because they make so much money, and they don't do very much. So they couch it in words like derivative and stock options.
That's what you're doing. Nobody knows how it fucking works because they're all retards up there.
And commodity futures and different types of contracts. It's all fairly, everyone is capable of understanding it. It is not complicated. But Wall Street, because they make so much money from doing fairly simple things, needs to make it more complicated than it really is.
We had a very
I mean, I believe that.
in the early 90s based upon real estate and Japan basically imploding.
Let's again, you had a recession in the 90s. I don't know what it's based upon. It's always interesting to look back and say, separate from, there's certain triggers, like in the 70s there was a...
What do you think it was based upon, the 90s downturn? It's clearly there was a huge downturn.
No, I know there was a downturn. That's what I know for sure.
That's a fact.
That's all. Everything else is sort of speculation about why did he have that?
I understand that, but there's some speculation that has 0% probability of being true, and there's others that have 90%. In the range, when you look at the range of alternatives of what could have caused it in 90, and what I'm trying to do is get you all the way up to 2008. Look, you're the smartest guy in the room, right? You know that.
I mean, I'm not surprised that JF was able to get $20,000 from this dude now.
You think there's any?
That was always a mystery to me. Like, how could JF Garapi get the $20,000 from the Epstein and then smash his potato wife? Like, it seems like he just bullshitted him, and he just like, all right, I'll just give you some money.
In the world today.
Oops, this is going to be a bad question.
No, but do you think anybody in the world today, the Alan Greenspans, the Bernankes, is there any central banker you know, any partner of any Wall Street firm, any guy running a trading desk, and I would take it that would be, or anybody at a Larry Fink at BlackRock, Steve Schwartzman at Blackstone, the top 100 financial guys, and let's throw in a couple of Nobel economists, and let's throw in the best professors at Wharton, at Harvard, at Stanford. Do you think that there's anybody that understands money or understands the world's financial system as good as you?
There must be.
But it doesn't come to the top of the head.
Hello, Sean Model, people. How's it going?
Now that I've gotten that, let's go back to 1990. In that arc from the fall of the Berlin Wall to 2008.
Good.
We started with the implosion in Tokyo of the Japanese economy, Japanese financial markets. We had the huge run up in internet stocks, right? We had the implosion of that in 2000. The
Japan bubble was crazy time. You can go around Japan and see like remnants of this bubble. They had so much fucking money. There was like just all of these abandoned structures everywhere, like the world's largest bowling ball alley. That was pretty cool. You can go just explore that and shit. But like one of my favorite ones is there's the village of stone people. There was one business dude up in Toyama, and he decided to just make this entire mountain covered with real stone statues, or the stone statues that have the real faces of people from that town. And he spent like over $1 billion on this mountain. And now it's just this abandoned like ruin where you can just walk up there and there's just like thousands of these stone statues. He flew all of the stone statues in there by helicopter. They had so much fucking money in Japan. They have no idea what they were going to do with it. And there's all these like ridiculous things they used to spend it on. It was crazy. Real stone? No, wait. Fuck off. I've got all these videos. Like I went up there and filmed a video about it, but then I got busy and didn't finish it. So I still have that on my like to-do list, along with the video where I went to Tokyo and Max beat up the guy that was upskirting people that I showed you footage from before. Not of the upskirt of the girl, but of Max beating up this guy.
The bankruptcy of Drexel Burnham in 90, implosion of Japan, huge run-up in equity markets for the internet, implosion of the internet in 2000, 10 years later roughly. And then this run-up through the Iraq War and all that, the run-up to 2008. Every 10 years it seems like.
It would be crazy if Epstein invited JF, but he knocked back the invitation because there weren't any potato chicks. No, the chicks on the island were too smart for JF.
We're in some sort of 10 years before the 1990s was the 70s.
You sound like an astrologer.
Okay.
and not a
It's not
financial.
just, I agree with you, a mathematician. It just seems to be a pattern of every 10 years.
That's misleading. That's exactly right. Because people like to see patterns. People like to see patterns where there are none.
So a pattern of a financial crisis every 10 years is just in my mind.
Don't notice, chat. Don't notice the patterns.
Long-term capital, that had to be bailed out back in the late 90s when everybody panicked. And that wasn't a big, that bailout today would look small, and it was a $5 billion or was $30 billion.
Businesses fail all the time.
But they long-term capital, the Federal Reserve
Beating up a pervert. It's on one of the previous streams. It's actually really funny. I did talk Max out of breaking the guy's leg. Not that he didn't deserve it, but like, it just would have caused us trouble. It's pretty funny though. He like puts him in a headlock and we wait for he calls the cops, and then he tells the cops that like the guy thinks he had a knife or some shit. It's pretty funny.
I'm saying people go bad. Things go bad all the time.
Yes, the local, you're correct. The audience that's watching this, the little guys, they go bankrupt all the time and nobody gives a shit. You know why? They're a little guy. But when long-term capital management goes bankrupt, or Bear Stearns goes bankrupt, or Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt, people care because
it's an unfair characterization.
Why do you say
Because
that?
again, it's the complexity of the situation. If you think about you have a complex system. You have your body. Now, in fact, the little guy is my finger. This is.
What's he going to do with his finger to the little guy? Energy King says, "Rip JF. Think about the island every day." Wait, what happened to Energy King? He used to be black. We're in the alternative universe now. Where the shirts
Bear
change from white
Stearns
to
is your
black.
heart.
That's correct. The banking system is my heart. The system, I can't risk my because remember,
Okay,
it's not
so
only my.
you haven't been able to name.
Hang on.
You haven't. Hang on. No, hang on.
I was trying to hang. I wanted to see if the hang on worked.
No,
It
you
didn't
haven't
work.
been able. You're not good enough yet. You're like junior wizard trying to do it. You haven't.
Yes.
Okay, since we can't name another guy that's as good as you. Now, there may be a couple out there. You're not bragging. You're humble. It had to be sometime. Please tell me there was some time before you went to jail and basically got cut off from daily information in the summer of 2008 that you started to get very nervous that this complex system, that something was deeply wrong.
Okay, first, let's go back. When I say no one understands the system better than I do, it doesn't mean I
You always
understand.
sound like a
He doesn't
doctor
know
who's getting
shit.
Sued for giving a thing.
Yes,
you're not taking on any liability. There's no contingent liability here for
Yeah,
your answers.
no. But the word understand is the problem.
Okay.
I don't understand the system.
I agree with that.
I don't understand the financial
Will you
system.
please stop? You cannot sit here and
Yeah,
tell me.
no.
What we just went through, I'll go through again. The hedge fund managers, the money managers, the central bankers, the commercial bankers, the heads of the investment banks, the heads of all the trading desks, the top economists, and I'll throw in the business school lecturers at Stanford. Of all the top 200, 250, you can't name at the top of your head the guys are at least at your level. You have to understand it somewhat.
No. Sorry. We all don't understand it.
So he just threw parties with like 16-year-old girls. That's how he has all this power. He just bullshit his entire way through life. And because the top elite of the world are degenerates, he doesn't have to understand anything. Like this is such an infuriating fucking interview. I'm glad that Bannon's calling him out. Like you don't know fucking shit.
No one understands it. It's a miracle. That's part of the problem. It's impossible to understand. That word understand simply means if this happens here, that will happen there. It's predictable. Understanding means it's predictable. It's not predictable. That's the problem. In complex systems, that was the fascination. Is there a way to...
This is literally the fucking line from Jurassic Park about chaos theory. I swear to God, this guy's just like thinking about what Jeff Goldblum said in that movie.
Out some level of predictability.
So
if you put a drop of water on your hand, which way is it going to go? Back again? No, because of all the tiny and imperceivable cracks in your skin. That's chaos theory, baby. Jesus Christ.
In fact, you would ask the question. It's a great question, which was it a stroke or a heart attack? Now, most people...
I'm having a stroke and a heart attack watching this.
They just have a stroke. Do they understand why?
Yes.
In hindsight, you go back.
Because of various, like, high blood pressure, poor diet, genetic factors. Yes, they do. You can find someone that's predisposed for having a stroke and then prevent them from having a stroke, or at least reduce their risk of having a stroke by taking preventative measures. Of course they can. What do you mean? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills listening to this.
Explanations. It might sound good. And if you're talking to the working man, you're using language that he'll never understand. It's complex. So he, just like going to his doctor, he says he has a gastrointestinal problem, or he has diverticulitis, as opposed to saying, you had a stomach ache, you ate bad food. People don't like to say it in normal, everyman terms.
They're fat.
The system had a stroke, and we don't know why.
But you just
Yes,
hard.
I don't know why this happened. I mean, it was Bill Clinton's fault for giving all of the black people their home loans, but I have no idea. What do you mean? He changed into his black shirt, and I feel like everything went wrong after the black shirt. You can see here, he's like white shirt then black shirt, like happened in the same interview. What the fuck happened here? Did they just do a bunch of like booger sugar or some shit like here? Fed Nick. Oh, you almost got me there. You almost fucking got me. Mr. Nicholas with a 2 says, you know, this was done by Bannon for good PR. Indeed. Bob Chu with a 2 says, how does Epstein loop back to dinosaurs for you? I don't know what you mean by that. What is this?
Working people, and there's a great social benefit, would you not agree, with having people having ownership in the system?
When you say ownership in the system, it doesn't mean...
Let's start over.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's start again because this is so retarded.
Yeah.
I mentioned Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what the fuck comes up with that?
That's correct.
Oh, I see. How does this loop back to dinosaurs for you? Because he's talking about the chaos. Basically, he's talking about the financial system like it's the chaos theory from Jurassic Park, where the idea is you can't understand complex systems regardless of how much computing power or like predictive methods you have. That's the. It's not very well explained like in the movie, but in the book it goes more into it about the chaos theory and who's basically just what's his name, Malcolm in that movie. It's kind of just like Michael Crichton's stand-in, but like they go into a lot more detail about how even with as much technology as we have, we can't predict complex systems because immutable things change and the butterfly effect like down the line, yada 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 yada. That's what Jeffrey Epstein is alluding to kind of here. I'm almost certain he's thinking about these lines from Jurassic Park.
Which one has
because he has no idea how this actually works, and he's just bullshitting his way through this interview.
PSA.
I can't not believe I've got the magic moment when you're in fucking prison or jail, wherever the fuck it is.
It's crazy.
Solitary.
Now, there's a funny part that we missed, which is said.
Go ahead, tell it.
The funny part is what you asked me.
Is there anything funnier than that?
No.
For black humor,
I don't make any black comments. Sorry.
I mean, except for the subprime mortgages.
You asked me what I was wearing.
That's right. You're too wrapped up in the Me Too movement.
Yes. So I was wearing
What the fuck are they talking about?
Jumper and a brown pair of pants given to me by the jail with the word trustee on the back.
Because you had qualified to be a trustee?
Well, the funny part was it was spelled Trusty. So I wasn't really sure.
Huh?
I'd been a trustee in many different operations, but it was the first time it was actually printed on my back and spelled incorrectly.
Probably had a higher level of being a trustee at that than you had at all the boards that you were trustees, right?
Yeah, that's right, because the trustee meant you get 2 devices to clean your toilet as opposed to 1.
Yeah, but it also meant that you had some sort of personal...
What do you mean? He has 2 telephones and 2 toilet brushes in prison? While he's making calls to JP Morgan and shit? What the fuck are they talking about? I was taking this Japanese aspirin. Is this like crazy? Am I actually taking crazy pills right now?
Own responsibility for oneself, right?
In the jail?
Well, that's what being a trustee is. That's why they give you 2.
Yes, you get 2 cleaners. I was a trustee in the jail because I was able to teach some of the kids to help them get their...
Some of the kids? What do you mean?
GED. So that's how they...
What?
I was able to teach some of the kids to help them get their GED. So that's how they gave me a trustee job.
There's no time.
So he's teaching inmates in the prison. He's setting them up with generational wealth with his stock calls and also getting them with their high school diplomas. You got this guy coming out of jail and he's got his high school diploma and he's like, thank you, Jeffrey Epstein. I'm losing my fucking mind here.
I got to go back to this because I'm like a dog with a bone in this thing.
Yes.
You can't. There's something deeply.
Seems like such a nice guy.
At least something.
Well, we know there are things deeply fucked up with this. You will get through in this film,
right.
But you cannot possibly have to sit there, knowing that you came from nowhere, knowing that you went to the very top of what is considered outside of science and maybe physics, the thing people most admire because it's like alchemy, understanding high finance. To sit there in what will be the defining financial crisis of our time, like Black Friday or Black Monday, whatever it was, in the Great Depression, and be there at that exact moment, triggered in part by a firm that you used to be a partner in and knew intimately well and created much of your initial net worth because of, and know that you couldn't, someone who lives on a phone, right?
Yes.
Because you do live on a phone, right?
Correct.
This is like the boomer equivalent of saying someone's terminally online. You live on a phone.
You had to collect 2 collect calls. You cannot tell me sometime
This is
during
how he
that
got rich, by just charging everyone collect calls.
day, you did not have that conversation with yourself of how the fuck did I do this to myself to put myself in West Palm Beach in a 6x9 cell with a metal fucking bed with a brown shirt that said trustee spelled wrong.
This is the record scratch. Yeah, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here.
I find it amazing that I was there. That's
Not amazing. I don't want to say it's not funny. Oh, I thought
I wasn't funny.
Right.
But
Not amazing.
no, it was incredible.
Incredible in what way?
This-
Incredible.
Getting
Like, how did I
upset.
do this to myself?
No, it's as incredible as me sitting here in this house. They are both just 2 sides of the coin.
Huh?
That's how I think about it. That my life today is incredible.
Do you consider yourself a stoic?
He's stoic,
I
chat.
consider myself a hermit.
Okay, he's literally a hikikomori. He's not stoic. What question is that? Do you Mr. Epstein, are you a stoic individual? No, I'm a hermit. I'm a hikikomori. I'm a fucking neat.
Stoics are not very happy.
That's not true. Stoic people are very happy.
Being a hermit then, being in that 6x9 cell, being in the cell, qua the cell was not the problem, right?
Correct.
What was the problem?
Eating the almond joy bars.
Because you couldn't eat the food.
No, right. But remember, my life is.
Did that ever strike you that I can't eat the food because somebody might have done something to it? I gotta eat.
He's getting loaded off of almond joy bars because he doesn't trust the prisoner's chef to not poison him. And where the fuck are these almond joys coming from? And like I said, you could pretty easily inject an almond joy with some shit. Okay, can't be too hard to find a syringe in prison.
Off an almond joy bar, 1 a day or 2 a day or whatever, how many ever sneak in a day?
No,
it's like Vitali living off 300
One
calories of
Joy
almond
bar,
joys
did
a
that
day.
not- it did not hit you at some time. How the fuck did I do this?
No.
How many calories are in almond joy?
Let's go back to the spring of 2008. Were you so wrapped up in your personal issues at the time you were not spending enough time on the financial markets, or were you deeply involved in the financial markets like you normally were?
No, I was involved.
What happened is Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, but he did, ironically, because he didn't understand the complex system of feeding your body just a diet exclusively of almond joys. I want to see his blood sugar report, like the toxicology. Show me his glycogen levels. That's what I want to see. The complex system of eating chocolate every fucking day.
So we're saying that the smartest guy in the room didn't see it coming.
No, of course.
The bankruptcy of Bear Stearns.
I think his chef
you
will
just thought it was
pee
a
in
Bear
his
Stearns
soup.
problem.
Yeah.
You didn't see it as systemic.
I know you keep harping on it, but it's not.
Because you're a mathematician and understand systems.
I-
It seems that anybody that understands that they had a systemic problem, you at least be the first on the early search radar. If you're not going to see it, then I'm really afraid, because that means that I always assume there's at least a set of guys out there that have some sort of sense that something's not right.
It's not right,
Imagine
chat.
The guy who has a stroke or had the heart attack, when you ask him,
I don't know. Like they did stop to change shirts halfway through, so this might be the best part of the interview. Like this, maybe they went on for 8 hours and it was just 8 hours of garbage talking about almond joys and systems. And this is like they're like, we can't even edit this in a clever way.
did you feel funny the day before? He's going to tell you, yeah, I didn't feel right. Something was off. I didn't feel right. I had my stomach was right. I felt a little dizzy. I felt a little weak. But if you asked him that day before, do you think you're going to have a heart attack tomorrow? He'd say, no, I just feel a little weak. I'm a little dizzy. My stomach hurts. So these systems, and
Wouldn't
that's
it be
the
the arm
issue
hurting?
of complexity. What complexity says
some
is that in fact,
angina.
everything seems to go along, and people have seen it. One of the great examples of complex systems is sand dunes.
He said the magic word. Sand mentioned. I'm going fucking insane. I didn't know there was sand in this interview, by the way, chat. Was this ever aired? Probably not, and I can see why. The sand. Let's fucking go. It's complex sand systems. I don't know how they work. Wind. That's how it works. The wind piles the sand up.
In fact, the sand keeps building up. People have seen some, and all of a sudden, one more sand drop, and all the sand starts running down the hills. That's the way.
Oh no! It's the particle of sand that destroyed the camel's back.
I see the financial market.
When you funded Santa Fe in the early 90s or later?
Santa Fe? You can't do... No, obviously Santa Fe. Sorry.
I believe it was early 90s. I can get back to you.
But
Drops of sand,
early
yes.
90s, Santa Fe was funded.
Did I show you guys my sand shishi odori? I can't remember what the fucking name is in English. It's like the bamboo thing that goes plump. I've got like one of those made of sand. Unironically, this is true.
Study of complexity theory.
It was so let's.
Well, I mean, I don't have it. It was at the Sand
so
Museum.
Why did I buy a ranch in New Mexico in 1993? So that gives you some sense. So I would have funded it in 1990. Los Alamos, which was the high energy lab up in New Mexico, was losing all its scientists.
And Los Alamos, it was where Oppenheimer and where a lot of the nuclear weapons program, the bomb.
That's where the Manhattan Project.
Manhattan Project was at Los Alamos, and you bought your property out in New Mexico to be near that?
Yes, because the scientists were going to, they cut the funding for high energy physics. But the people who worked in Los Alamos...
Yes, the Sand Museum is on an island, but it's not the island that I went to. Okay. Your brother-in-law works there at the Sand Island or the other island?
Still be in the Santa Fe area.
They cut that because this was the Cold War dividend, right?
I don't remember exactly why. It was because, again, people thought that physics and high energy physics really wasn't that important.
Because that was about nuclear weapons.
No,
That's
it
a
was
pretty
because
dumb thing.
they decided, which maybe not right. This was the same time that Murray Gell-Mann came up with the term quark, Q-U-A-R-K.
Quark. Quark. It's like the smallest particle, right?
He picked it out of an old poem, the word quark. But it was mysterious. So they were starting to understand in the 90s that in the
Not if you're a
world
fan of DS9.
the physics world, there was things that were just unexplainable. They called it strange things. You gave it a name. You gave it some characteristics. You called it had charm. It was one of the terms. It had a charm. It had a flavor. It had a color. But no one, Mr. Bannon, understood what it was. Just like the financial system.
And you wanted to investigate that.
I wanted to see if we could build tools so others smarter than me could help investigate it.
And that was the beginning of your concept of the Santa Fe Institute.
This is literally like one of the techniques is just to tell them stories that don't go anywhere. Like the time that I had the onion tied to my belt when I had to go to Shelbyville.
And Santa Fe Institute was founded to do study in this type of...
Can you...
have you guys seen that? Like they want to build like the new Large Hadron Collider, and there's the meme where it's like just one more collider, bro. Just let me build one more particle accelerator, bro. We're definitely gonna understand the entire meaning of the universe, bro. Just let me build one more particle accelerator. We're gonna get it, bro. It's such a good one.
Can these areas of strange things be described by some form of mathematics?
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to get at. The foundational thought, the organizing principle of Santa Fe in the high physics lab at Los Alamos, right, which had been the headquarters of Manhattan and the Trinity Project, right, the bomb.
Yes.
So you're talking about the elite, the high priest
of physics.
Of physics.
Yes, sir.
Which high priest of physics, some subset of that is
the high priest of physics. What is he worshiping? The machine spirit? Oh my god. The high priest of physics. We don't know how it works. It just does. Wow.
It's also mathematics.
Yes. Is he gonna say like, you know, the crazy thing about physics and nobody understands how it works because like even when you're pitching your fingers together, you're not actually touching because the particles never actually touch each other. Therefore, I never could have touched those children.
They're both similar.
Project out. One of the tools you want to do is to make sure that in this complex system,
the omnisci, yeah,
the finance
shaman
system,
of physics.
I'm doing a lot of this for philanthropy and a lot for the good of mankind, but also to be able to understand this complex system, the most complex outside of maybe our body, of the financial world.
Yes.
Did they create tools, or were you smarter in
no, they weren't.
than the mid-aughts, 15 years later, than you had been then because of work that was done at Santa Fe?
No, it was great. But in fact, most of my philanthropy in the area of can you describe things that appear to be unexplainable.
Like what happened to Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, what happened to JF Garapi's wife? Is that why you funded him $20,000? I mean, that's one thing we can't explain. What happened to her?
By mathematics. And can you fund people who have new ideas? And unfortunately, when someone thinks
the revolutionary phenotype.
Well, there was a man, Stuart Kaufman, when they think that, okay, I figured out how to be able to predict the unpredictable, what appears to other people to be unpredictable. But my system, in those days it was called genetic algorithms, can predict what things will happen, and they all want to make money. So they use their systems to try to figure out, they know they have figured out the way to make money because they figured out the unexplainable. They try, they go bankrupt, and we start again. So with a cold view, what I've come to realize is that the attempt to mathematize, formularize, or what in your prior work, to understand what really is, in today's world, still unexplainable, is impossible. They're miracles.
Okay.
Your first head
It's just magic, Chad. It just fucking works.
of Santa Fe was Christopher
Langdon, I think.
Langdon from
But
Australia.
Murray Gell-Mann was
Murray
really
Gell-Mann
was the funder. He was the
yes,
rock.
Yes, he was the rock. He was a Nobel Prize winner?
Yes.
Yes, and a wonderful guy. He came out and helped us with the Biosphere 2 project.
Is it true that you get $1 million when you win the Nobel Prize? Or is this just like other knowledge that I made up somewhere along the line? Because I heard like everyone that gets a Nobel Prize gets like $1 million.
He came with Chris Langdon.
Yeah.
Chris Langdon was the operator, the day-to-day guy.
Chris was doing
Damn
artificial
Norwegians.
life. Murray tried to lead his own artificial life.
Yes. When Chris came to Biosphere 2 for the first big conference we had in 1994, he was one of the most impressive guys there among all the world's elite. Kew Gardens, the Lawrence Livermore Lab, the labs at Sandia, all the major universities, Lamont Doherty, all the big Earth observatories, Woods Hole. What set Langdon apart, I thought.
I think I'm starting to figure out what Jeffrey Epstein's job actually was. It was just to cover up the blatant crime by making things inconceivable. Like his entire talent is so poorly explaining things that if you try and find out where the money's going, it goes through this like endless loop of like weird analogies and systems and people having strokes and diabetes and shit. That's what he's actually was just good at. Like unironically, like he's a retard sweeper, and he was able to make all the financial crimes disappear with a magic analogies. That's what I think that's actually how he got money now.
The reason I invited Santa Fe to
Also
be part
the
of it
parties,
was Langdon
obviously.
actually made a presentation that everything.
It's a professional
he was working
yapper,
with
exactly.
Scientists, a lot of marine biologists, a lot of people that just beginning, Wally Broker, and people who were just beginning the study of climate change, at that time called global warming. That he made this compelling presentation that everything's really mathematics.
Yes.
It's all just back to math. And you have to, all these experiments you do, you're not, one of the reasons they're not considered by the high priest in physics as being real experiments is that they don't have a mathematical basis to it, and everything has a mathematical basis to it. Langdon seemed like a radical visionary. What happened to that concept?
You go back 350 years.
Okay.
So you have Isaac Newton, you have Leibniz. Move forward, you have people like Heisenberg and Gödel, and what every one of those mathematicians and philosophers came to understand is that there's numbers can describe certain things, approximate certain things.
Okay.
But in
Where does
fact,
he go with this?
trying to put measurements and numbers on other things that are really unexplainable is folly.
No, because you just can't explain them at that time. You can explain them at a later date. That's the process of science.
It's so 300 years ago they said that unexplainable realm was God, and people who attempted, in fact, to explain the unexplainable, who said, yes, I understand the unexplainable, were charlatans. They were the occults. They were the astrologers. They were the con men.
Alchemist.
Yes. Well, no, alchemist was, in fact, they believed that there was a way to transmute one metal into another. In fact, they always wanted to see if
And
they could
make
create
golems,
gold.
right?
There's no reason, if you think about it, they recognize that one metal is different than another metal because it has some additional pieces to it. It has additional neutrons or protons or electrons. So because they thought it was a machine, they believed it was a machine, if I can take 5 protons and add 5, that gives me 10, I should be able to get gold. Move everything around inside these systems, the molecules transmute one molecule into another, and if this molecule I've transmuted
Yeah, in
into
theory
is
you can
gold,
do that.
I'm a rich man. It's back to money.
No, well, you can actually make gold. You can actually do this, but the amount of energy required to make it actually happen makes it inefficient. There's no reason to do it. But on a very small scale, like at the scale of like molecules, like it's just several molecules. This is actually something that they can do in the lab.
Something
It's just pointless to do it.
happens. Isaac Newton says, this is really weird. If I want to push a ball on the table, I have to touch it. Maybe I have to blow on it. But I actually have to push one side of the ball or the book to move that side. I'm pushing here.
He knows a thing or
and
two about
obviously
pushing balls, I'm sure.
This thing is what appears to us humans to be solid, so it moves as one thing. But the only way to get something to move was to touch it or put a force against it.
Not necessarily.
Seems to make sense. Everybody has that experience. I want to lift a glass, I lift it. If I want to push a ball, I push it. If I want to pull a ball, I pull it. But he recognized when the ball fell off the table, it went in a different direction. How's that possible? Nobody pushed the ball down. And he said, this is crazy. Why did the ball go down? I didn't push it. I just let it go. So someone's pushing the ball. because I know that I am confident that the only thing that gets something to move is with a force that pushes. So there's a force that's pushing the ball down. In fact, he called it gravity. He measured how fast it was pulled, but never was able to explain why it happened. How is it? What is gravity?
It's because like dirt has parts of magnets inside it. Okay, that's how they work.
It's this. Everybody says, well, why did the ball fall to the ground? Because gravity took it. But what's gravity? That's, as Feynman would say, that's the name of the thing. We have no idea what it is. This goes to Santa Fe. They were trying to explain the unexplainable. Can we measure? Can we figure out a way to predict the stock markets using these types of chaos?
Before we get there, let's walk back through.
He said chaos.
Let's go back to Newton.
I told you.
Pre-Newton, and then Newton. What did Newton solve that for millennia up to Newton had not been solved? And then I want to go forward all the way to Santa Fe, what they were trying to solve. Let's start with just 2 or 3 of the basic guys, but let's
It's
go
all
with
just
Newton.
buoyancy. This is actually like my favorite flat earth theory, is it's all just about buoyancy. Like if you ask like a flat earther, like, why does water stay in a glass? They say it's because of buoyancy. It's like, but it's a pretty compelling argument, honestly. It's very fun. It's not true, but it is fun.
Pre-Newton, it was what? And then why is Newton such a
genius?
In such a, in the, I think mathematically they told me one time I've seen there's been 115 billion people roughly that have lived on the earth. And of that 115 billion,
Are
Newton.
you sure that's a number? That sounds a lot, very high. We only have 7 now.
I think in the history of the earth, I think it's, I'll pull up the stat for you, but I think it's 115 billion people they figured.
That probably is inflation. That's why
have lived on Earth. But he's one of the handful of the most important. What did he?
I've never had a fig Newton. I'm gonna. I don't know the taste.
He solved for. Why is he so important
Like
for how
figs,
we
though.
live today? And then we want to go through Leibniz and the other 2 or 3 other major ones to get us to Santa Fe.
Well, it's a long journey.
This is the heart of what we're trying to do.
Let me take a bit of a detour just a second.
Okay, let's just take a bit of a detour. What, to Shelbyville? With the time you had your onion on your belt?
If you went to high school and the last year in your high school.
When did you go to high school last?
You took
That's why you're in
calculus.
fucking prison.
So Isaac Newton sort of invents calculus, but that sounds invents, you know, mathematicians.
To torture seniors in high school before they graduate.
Yes, but obviously, no, yes, the answer is yes. Certain people could never
He would know a thing about torturing teenagers as well.
do calculus.
Probably don't want to bring up the high schools.
So why is that the dividing line between, you know, to me, people who can handle that and can go on to do certain things, and people just hit the wall, even if they know math? It seems to me that there's that the calculus is the thing that changes. It bridges. That's because it's about the theory of change and the theory of how things change.
It's a great question, but in fact, what calculus does.
Wait a second. Who's that in the background?
Change and the theory of how things change.
It's a great question, but
Bannon, are you still interviewing this lunatic? Yes, honey. But the dinner's on the table, Bannon. I'll heat it up.
In fact, what calculus does is it's somewhat philosophical. That's why
What?
mathematics is, you know, Newton wasn't a mathematician, he was called a geometer. That's what they used to call themselves. They understood geometry and numbers. But there's an old conundrum where it says, during Pythagoras' days, Zeno's paradox it's called, where they said, well, if the wall is 2 feet away from me, and I take one step that's halfway to the wall, that'll be 1 foot away. And if I take another step that's half again, that'll be half a foot away, and then a quarter of a foot. I could walk forever but never touch the wall. Doesn't sound realistic, doesn't make any sense in our real lives of the physical.
I mean,
But
no,
what
he's just halving it.
Newton understood is many problems were like that. Many things approached the wall, or in calculus, approached the limit, but never really reached it. So he said, it's okay, you don't have to reach it. We can do lots of the mathematics as if it was so close, it was almost there.
I want to make a wall joke, but I feel like it's too easy.
And we could do lots of mathematics almost being at the limit. And this is really important.
What the fuck are you doing, bro?
Because
what's this guy like? Having a little peek inside.
As if it was so close, it was almost there.
This is a mirror back
and we
here.
could do lots of mathematics almost.
This guy's
being at
having
the
a
limit.
cheeky peek.
This
Oh,
is
hello.
really
What's going
important,
on?
Steve, for today.
That's just Lane.
Because
Is
most
it?
of the science up until today.
They're hiding behind this. They're hiding behind the door, but there's a mirror there.
Was things that are starting to approach the limit.
Sneaky head. It's like they're like looking at. They're like, oh, I'm gonna be quiet.
Was things that are starting to approach the limit.
The whole mirrors, they're reflecting you. Fucking mirrors, how do they work, Jeffrey Epstein?
You were taught in high school that if you had 1 divided by 0,
Oh no. No, they're divided by 0.
if you were learning
No.
high school algebra, you were told, what's the answer to that?
Is
there an
Tony
answer to
taking a
1 divided
piss?
by 0? No, if you were in high school, it's like, stay away from it. It's the boogeyman. You could write it down as it's undefined.
I mean, this makes sense that he was on 4chan. Like, this is one of the reveals that actually came out as well, that he was on the Yuri 4chan. Like, he was sharing Yuri pics from 4chan. So, like, this divided by 0, he absolutely took part in the divided by 0 meme. That was pretty popular back then.
It's not able to be determined.
What are you,
There's
cheeky
a bunch of
peek?
things. But in fact, 1 divided by 0 is a strange things happen. It's a world of the strange. And I'll explain to you.
I used to love those divided by 0 memes where they have like a house imploding and shit.
That when you get 1 divided by 0, you get into a world we don't know what happens. The answer is it's not explainable. We can call it things like undetermined. We can have a convention to say it's X, Y, or Z. But in real life, we don't know what happens when you are actually at the limit. So Newton thought the same concept, is that the limits were God. You got close to God, but you can never be God. He had this sort of religious interpretation.
Okay, I want to go back to Newton. Why is
All right,
Newton
glasses
such a
went
big
back on.
dividing line in mankind's history?
Getting
What
serious
is it about
now.
Newton? What is it about what he's trying to solve? What did they not know beforehand? And because we live to a degree in a Newtonian universe, although I realized later subparticle atomic
I
physics,
swear to God, if they say non-Euclidean geometry at some part during this interview, I'm going to freak out.
but at least for a while, it was Newtonian. So what's the dividing line? Why is he so important? Why is he an inflection point in mankind's movement from the swamp to the stars?
It's a great question.
Is there a great answer?
By Kepler, what Newton starts to allow us to do is to make accurate predictions. Remember that we've talked about that with money, about the things in our physical world, how cars, he didn't have cars then, how horse carriages moved, how bowling balls moved, how pool cues and pool table balls.
Had people tried to solve that before Newton? Had
Many,
people
many,
tried it? Heraclitus or...
You know what's like crazy though, is that like these predictive markets and things that are coming up now, like Polymarket. And there was like some like troll post I saw, which is very funny, about how like prediction markets are going to replace food delivery, which sounds like retarded, right? But like, if you're unaware of how Polymarket works, basically you can bet on anything. So like, you could put down $50,000 that you're going to streak during the Super Bowl, and then obviously you could just go to the Super Bowl and streak, and then you could make $50,000. So you can actually predict and make money like that. But there was this guy that was having a bit of a joke, a cheeky jab about how you could place a bet on whether someone will deliver a chicken sandwich to me in the next 30 minutes. And if the price is right, someone would just deliver a chicken sandwich to you so they can win on Polymarket. It's so stupid, but like, it's this massive circle jerk that I'm learning about recently. It's very funny, the cultures inside Polymarket and I guess Kalshi, these other betting things. It's a bit of a chuckle. It's a bit of a hearty chuckle.
Or Plotinus, Pythagoras, had these greats that we hear about, had they tried to solve the same problem?
Not the same problem. They tried to, again, what Pythagoras...
Gambling is, you shouldn't gamble. I'm not saying you should do it, but it's just, it's very amusing to see some of the things. Especially like the Elon tweet betting market. Because Elon... every week people are betting on how many tweets Elon's going to do, and Elon has he can just, anytime he wants, he can just like cook the books essentially. It's very fun. Oh dear. What about that South African guy that said potato? I don't think that was actually like, that was a joke towards it. You mean like Trevor Noah during the Grammys? I don't think potato was actually one of the words that you could bet on. But hypothetically, if you were a celebrity or you're going to like events, you could easily manipulate these sort of things very quickly for quite a tiny little profit.
Relationships in triangles, for example, everyone knows the a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, the Pythagorean theorem, which is basically says these shapes in a triangle, each side of the triangle has a fixed relationship with the other two sides. That's strange. He knew, again, but it was all numbers. This was a system of things in the physical world, and Pythagoras says we can start putting numbers on things that help you predict how they will behave. You can add 2 triangles and make a square, some different shapes. They were looking at geometric forms. Newton says, well, I want to know how planets move. I want to know how things around me move. Can we find formulas? Can I find formulas that explain what I see in the physical world, how physical things interact and how they describe one another? Again, the fact that 2 things, 2 solid masses, for some very strange, unknown reason, unknown today, attract one another, no matter what they are.
Cringevan 2, thank you for the 2, Eva Blank. and goal. I don't know what's happening. Like, because like BP keeps having children, and he's too old now. He's complaining about his back hurts and stuff, which is funny because I think I'm several years older than him, and I feel great apart from having a fever or a flu this week. But I don't know. We'll see what we can do. There's been a bunch of people that like I wanted to invite on Cringe Van, but it may not be happening because of various reasons. Yeah, that's a great example, almost as good as the one that Mr. Jeffy is putting out right now.
People have seen the experiment. You hang something, two little metal balls from a string. They move towards each other. In fact, they move towards each other was very specific. So when you drop the ball to the floor of this room, Newton says, in fact, the room came up a bit to meet the ball.
Huh?
The room moved. It's imperceptible. You can't really perceive that motion, but they attracted each other with certain ratios. So he started to be able to measure things in the physical world. And that was great advances. It also, you wanted to move very quickly. Unfortunately, most people, especially in the 20th century, 19th century, said, well, like Newton, let's measure everything. Let's measure people's behavior.
Let's measure people's behavior.
Measure their psychology. Let's measure their health. You go to we can have my blood test. Let's measure everything. We measure Wall Street.
Their voting habits.
Measure. Can we put a number on how much I care for my wife? Can I put a number?
I can. It's 0.
On how I feel.
I'm not married, that's a joke. But
and we tried, unfortunately, we try to mathematize the finer things in life and then recognize that there's things that, unfortunately.
Don't get me started on Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's on my list of people I hate, right up there with Noam Chomsky.
Just fall outside.
I'm so sick of seeing those like hype edits where that same song is playing every single fucking reel, and you've got like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Tyson's Chicken, whatever, explaining some shit that's like super obvious, and everyone's like, whoa, and it's like the zoom ins with the podcasters. That's like the entire world that I'm, I guess, exposed to.
When Schrodinger wrote a very famous book about what is life.
There's Japanese news you can cover? What is happening in Japan right now?
He was trying to figure out a way. Can he describe the difference formulaically between things that are alive and things that are dead? The answer is no. The things that are alive in my world are miracles, not magic. Magic has a bad connotation.
You don't believe in the spirit or the soul? That's what animates people, is your spirit or your soul. Have you ever seen someone die? When they die, their spirit leaves.
Their soul leaves, no question. So
there's no question to you about
no
that.
Question.
There's no question to you that there is some animating life force within us that leaves when you're dead.
Yes, in fact, I refer to the soul. There's obviously a certain the questions in the past, even
because
during
people would normally think you were soulless. So
thank you.
Have you just have you?
What? People would describe you as soulless, Mr. Epstein. Well, thank you very much. Yes, I do. Like, weren't they involved in like blood magic rituals and shit, like the Bohemian Grove? These are what all his friends are doing, and then he's like, I don't want to talk about magic.
Talk about you actually believe in it, and have done some thinking about it is pretty shocking in its own right, isn't it?
Well, again, mathematics, Leibniz.
I like the Bill Nye on Smiling Friends. I fucking love science, Charlie. I fucking love science.
And Leibniz thought.
So Newton was at Cambridge, and he was the head of the math department, right? He's a professor, essentially. Yes. But Leibniz, was Leibniz a German professor?
Yes, but what Leibniz said is, the soul is so strange, because God took chemicals, which is simply the material, like tables, and he somehow made this material able to have a thought. How strange is that? Not only does it have a soul.
I'm not sure that's how it works, Mr. Jewish pedophile, deceased banker man. I don't think that God took tables and turned them into human souls. I'm not on what day did God create tables? Was that day 2? Day 3? I mean, he had to put someone to put his coffee, right?
But there's some way it was put together that this material substance is able to think. So when you say to me, it's obvious to everyone that there's such a thing as a soul. Now, if you're part of the Charlatanville, you'll try to explain it to people.
It's an evergreen question.
The soul I describe as the dark matter of the brain. Why is it dark matter? Because in high energy physics nowadays, you hear terms of dark matter, dark energy. Again, terminology. It's a complicated term. Why is it dark matter? Because we can't see it. That's all. What do you mean you can't see it? Well, somehow we see something moving towards this area of darkness. Something, I can see this thing. This appears to me to be empty. It's just black. But I see it being drawn this way. So I say, well, I know if this were matter, that would follow that equation. If this was solid, it would explain the way this particle moves. But I can't see anything here. So I'll just call it dark matter. And I'll say, I don't know what it is, but it behaves as if there was something there. The soul is obviously...
Isn't there small quantities of dark matter on Earth that they can hold within a magnetic field? Because if matter and dark matter like interact with each other, they disintegrate each other essentially. But I'm pretty sure like dark matter is one of the most expensive materials on Earth. And like specifically you can generate it, but it needs to be held inside a magnetic field to prevent it from touching anything. It has to be stored in a vacuum. What do you mean we can't see it? We can't observe it. That's antimatter? Isn't antimatter and dark matter the exact same thing? Aren't they just synonyms? Dark matter ain't antimatter? Wait, really? I was almost certain that dark matter and antimatter were the same thing. No? Not yet proven? Okay. No? Nope. Apparently everyone knows this except for me, so I guess I'm the brainlet here. Most expensive to produce artificially, I thought. Dark matter is supposed to be the space in between, I believe. That's just nothing. That's void. Right? Bro, silly. They're not. Sorry. All right, what is the difference? What is the... I'm actually curious now. Difference between dark... My first... Do you guys want to see my suggested Google searches? What is the difference between dark and light brown sugar? Dark and light soy sauce? Dark and white meat? Dark energy and dark matter. Okay, is this what I want to look for? Let's see. Dark matter and dark energy are invisible, unknown components of the universe, but have opposite roles. Dark matter acts as a cosmic, attractive cement, holding galaxies together, while dark energy is a repulsive force, accelerating the expansion of the universe. Okay. That actually sounds pretty interesting. I'll have to check that up later in the stream. I mean, later in my own private time.
Obvious to
right,
everyone.
Fair enough.
That there's something different between things that are alive and things that are not alive.
Dark antimatter would be
But
cool,
we have
though.
no idea what it is. It's currently unexplainable. I believe we need an entirely different system of analysis to try to figure out.
But no, with Newton, you know, with all his alchemical studies and things he worked on the spiritual side, Leibniz had just talked about the soul, Schroeder talked about what is life. If a modern scientist or someone that you funded at MIT or at Harvard or one of these things talked in those types of terms, they would be considered to be a wingnut today, wouldn't they? They would not be on the path for tenure, right?
Unless they were in the philosophy department.
This is exactly my...
Okay, dark matter is a matter that interacts with gravity, but seemingly nothing else. Antimatter is actually matter that acts equal and opposite to matter, and they hate each other. Yeah, isn't that the same as like, because hypothetically, so antimatter is closer to exotic matter. Like exotic matter is essentially matter that would have like a negative gravity signature. I'm not sure if it's actually real or if it's hypothetical, but like, couldn't you use that as, like there's all sorts of properties you could use exotic matter for. They're really cool because essentially one of the easiest ways is using it for anti-ballast to make like spacefaring very easy. Anyway, never mind.
Point. We're talking about three of the greatest mathematicians in mankind's history that have really changed mankind. Talking like this, what happened? How do we get to a situation where they could not be in the high physics, you know, they could not be in the mathematics department or working in high energy physics?
Good, it's an easy answer. Newton was a combination of mathematician or geometer then and philosopher. And as time went on, those disciplines seemed to move apart. We had philosophy. Some of the philosophers can't do math, and some of the mathematicians. And again, mathematicians often break into two categories. People that solve problems. Those are more like geometers in the old days, just problem solvers. And then there's thinkers, theoreticians. They're more like the old movement towards philosophy. But neither one of those two groups have been able to figure out why something is alive as opposed to something that's not alive. No one's been able to describe what the soul is, but we all know it exists.
Well, I mean, you say that, but then you've got this individual sitting here that has no soul, so...
And I think what we need is a new... Science is a bad word. I think science only describes the things we already know about the physical world. In fact, there's an argument that the physical world that we see has been created out of our systems of mathematics. Mathematics, everyone knows mathematics describes the physical world much greater than it should, unless my view, the physical world really comes out of conscious beings that have mathematics. So they create it. This table appears to you and I to be solid. To a bat, because we have light that's bouncing off the table into our eyes, it appears solid. If instead of eyes that responded to wavelengths of visual light. Our eyes responded to radio waves, the radio frequencies. It's not different. It's the same type of frequency as light, but different speeds. The table's invisible.
Is that true?
We know that our phone works.
Is that actually true? Radio waves are the same as light particles? I don't think so. Because radio waves can penetrate solid matter. Is it just a different frequency? Doesn't sound quite right to me.
Works in this room. So the waves are coming through the windows. The waves are coming through the walls. This room. So the waves are coming through the windows. The waves are coming through the walls.
Like I think what he wanted to talk about was like bats being able to use echolocation. But then he went off on this. Yes, it's true. Okay.
So the walls are invisible to that type of radiation, that type of energy. The walls are. I can see them because my eyes.
Maybe I will.
A physical system determines that the walls are there.
The walls are closed again as well.
With Murray Geldman, you founded, or were the original donor, and had the idea of Santa Fe Institute. In 10 or 15 years later, that effort to study the complexity of systems mathematically.
Yes.
Was
It's a total failure.
A total failure.
Total failure.
Light is electromagnetic waves.
It's the failure of
I know
science
that,
because, in fact,
but like I didn't realize that like radio waves and light were the same beast essentially.
If to some extent science doesn't describe romance, I don't know why I'm attracted to somebody.
What a thing to say in this interview. I guess I just can't control it.
I don't know. People are attracted to each other, and everyone has the same feeling. They've seen someone walk in the room, and they say, "Oh, that person gives me a creepy feeling." Science has tried to describe. Science doesn't describe what creepy.
It's a vibe check, okay? We have science to describe this. It's called vibe checking, and you're failing those.
Feelings means. They just know it's a creepy feeling. I think women, as I said the last time, have an intuitive sense. What is intuitive? They have intuition. They have feelings, and they're able to deal in the realm of things that men, especially men like myself, find unexplainable. Women have intuition, men see things a bit differently. Men want to measure everything. Women are not really that interested in measuring.
That's not true either.
In what you're saying in macro terms.
All women do is try and measure things. They just don't know how numbers work.
Science, mathematics, maybe ultimately technology.
This is embarrassing. Like, this is terrible for me. Because I can't pretend to be smarter than the chat because they know more than me. It's a disaster.
Moving to that more intuitive.
I think science and math are old-fashioned. And unfortunately, people are still taught that they have to learn algebra in school and certain things in school, as opposed to learning to have an emotion.
Is this what Larry Summers was trying to get at? Maybe he didn't say it perfectly enough, but what he was trying to get to in that system, the systems we study today, the way mathematics is either taught or understood, that women just haven't gotten up to the highest realms of engineering or physics or mathematics because of that. And you're actually implying that there's a either new branch of science, or we've hit an inflection point like in Newton that's going to go in a Newton.
We're going to discover a new branch of science where women can be on top for a change.
Took mankind in a different direction because he was able to measure. Then you had subatomic, non-Newtonian physics later. Are you saying that you think there's another developing field that's coming up that may take us, I don't know how many decades
feminist math
to get our hands around, but that's what's evolving out of this?
Yes. Yeah.
He believes in it. The feminist math. It's happening, chat.
In fact, I think that
Femstells.
mathematics, it's not the end of science. Every year someone says it's the end of, we can't discover everything. There's lots to discover with relationship to the physical world, but we know a lot already. In respect to the unexplainable world, we almost know nothing. Women, again, sense it. And instead of Larry Summers, I won't digress too much, but Howard Gardner early on said, there's not one form of intelligence. It's not mathematical intelligence. There's emotional intelligence. There's kinesthetic intelligence. There's this argument that I reject that black people are less intelligent than white people. It's not true. We know, for example, that if I was in the forest and I had to run from the lion or figure out a way not to be eaten.
He has to say this very carefully.
And my competition is a local African. I'm the one who's getting eaten because they have the intelligence to deal with their local environment. So
no, it's just because they run faster.
It's just different. It's not better. It's not worse. But there's many differences amongst different types of people, and so people have different intelligences, and they excel in some intelligences usually, and less so in others.
When did it come to? Because the world of high finance is a world.
I mean, like you can use his racial trait though, right? Like, you can't outrun the lion. Okay, the black guy's going to run faster than you, but you can use your Jewish powers to, like, buy the black guy and then feed it to the lion, surely.
Of
you just
pure
got to lean
reason,
into
or
your,
is-
like, your skill set, okay? Like, when you do the race selection at the beginning of the game, everyone's got their racial bonuses. Like, of course you're not going to beat him in a race.
Is it a lot of emotion and gut checks and you know, on trading desk and central bank?
Or you can convince the lion that he doesn't want in. Never mind. You can infiltrate the lions. No, I can't say it. You can't outrun the lion, Jeffrey. You've got to join the pride and then convince them that you've got to go after the. Oh man, Epstein, you can't say that. Oh, God, worry. This guy's going to get cancelled. We better be careful, chat.
Banks, when these decisions get made, is it that high church, like the high church of science of high energy physics, or is it as much emotion that comes in as much as the mathematics and the reason?
That's a great question. I think if you talk to really experienced and successful traders, and you ask them how they know what's going on, they can't give you an answer. They don't know. They feel it. They can feel.
No, they get their friends to tell them what's going to happen, and then they bet accordingly. They get the inside knowledge.
The way the market's moving. They can feel the way the stock's moving, and that these are not very well defined
you get
terms.
politicians to help you out and give you like stop ticks and insider trading and all that shit. Okay, or you make the market.
It's difficult to put in mathematics terms. How did I feel it? You could look back and make guesses what I was seeing, but great traders feel it and then act on their feelings. That's the difference. Many people feel it but are afraid because they want a mathematical justification before they take that next step.
When you first got on the trading desk at Bear Stearns in the late 70s or mid 70s, were you shocked by how little actual understanding of mathematics that the traders comprehended?
Yeah, well, again, we had a Texas Instrument calculator. Most stockbrokers, especially before 1975, if they were good stockbrokers, could add. That's about it. They could multiply. If you could multiply, you were already in the top 15% of stockbrokers. Stockbrokers simply meant there's a story. When I went to the first person, I had no money. And I said, how much money do you make a year? And he said, $400,000. I said, impossible. I'm making $10,000.
That's probably more than your family had made in his entire existence.
Yes. And he makes that in a year. I said, what do you do? And he said, it's too complicated for you to understand. Which is what the main thrust of Wall Street people, they want to tell you it's too complicated. Because if you understood that that person was simply, he had a brother-in-law, in fact, in this case, who ran the pension fund at General Motors. His brother-in-law would call him and say, buy 1,000 IBM.
That's what I said.
He'd hang up the phone, he'd write it out on a ticket and walk it to a window. That was his entire skill set. Hello, write what my brother-in-law says, walk it to a ticket.
Yeah, you got to protect your bag.
Give me an example when you were on the trading desk in the early days at Bear Stearns of a time that you felt either complete uncertainty or you saw total panic, where something was happening that people couldn't foretell and that they were like in an airplane cockpit where it's going wrong. Walk us through that.
In 1978, I think it was, across the news wires, there had been a collapse of the currency in Thailand.
Oh, no.
On the other side of the world, had no relationship to me. I wasn't sure where Thailand was. But the fact that a currency...
Wait a minute, Jeffrey. I've never heard of the Ladyboy Island before. I didn't make their currency collapse. The currency probably collapsed because he found a new island to go to. He bought his own island. That's why they ran out of tourism money.
A country's money had all of a sudden dropped tremendously in value, affected the rest of the world's markets. And people panicked because they'd never seen that before. A very small part of a very complex system had a shock throughout the whole system. So prices on Park Avenue apartments, the bond markets, the stock markets, every started to gyrate. You know, there's an old mathematical expression that if a butterfly wings in Mexico make the wrong turn, it spins out, and eventually, by the time it gets to Canada, it turns into a tornado.
Suffer Canadians.
So these are part of complex systems. So yeah, Wall Street in certain parts.
Santa Fe Institute was supposed to actually come up with a formula for that, for the butterfly wings. Why in 15 years did you reach the end of at least that experiment?
Every attempt to, that's why it's so exciting now, because I think certain people are starting to realize that there's so many things that are unexplainable that we have to think about them differently. Music is a great example. It's a common man's example. You know when you hear a certain song, it makes you feel a certain way.
What type of common man are you talking about?
How does it do that? We don't know. We can't mathematize it. And even that music.
Dude, it
Steve,
passes the vibe check, okay?
Nowadays, we compress music. When you have a violin, it's compressed onto your iPhone. So what does compression mean? I'm taking lots of information and I'm cutting it into lots of pieces and squishing it together. And when I squish it or compress it, I have to take out lots of pieces, but I say that they're not very important pieces. It's those pieces that we take out when we compress data, to me, are the most interesting parts of life.
You just said a while ago, so part of this new search for science may go back to when people were actually talking about a soul, and you said there's no doubt in your mind that there is a soul. Describe for me what you mean by that. What do you mean by soul? What do you mean soul different than the physical analog body that we're seeing on film right now?
It's difficult to describe in words. I mean, I'm not a poet. Poems get a little closer to what that really means. But we can, even the concept of what is life becomes complicated when you deal with plants and seeds. Is a seed alive? I don't know. Certain people would say, no, it's dead. When you're a banana, one of my favorite examples is the banana that's sitting on the countertop in your kitchen today. Is it alive or dead?
What do you think about human life?
How do you like those bananas?
What is human? Tell me about human.
Sitting on the countertop in your kitchen today. Is it alive or dead?
What do you think about human life? What is human? Tell me about human life.
But your banana is alive. That banana is breathing. It's on your. You say that's impossible, Jeffrey. No, it's not.
Is the banana conscious?
All these words. These are words. So everyone's trying to fit a very complicated concepts into a very small box called conscious or alive. It's these.
I don't believe that bananas are breathing, by the way. I think that's not true. Like the plant breathes, sure, but the banana itself does not.
Don't fit in that way. So if you put your banana in a bag and put another fruit in with it, the fruit ripens faster because the banana breathes with it.
No, it's because of the bacteria on the banana, surely, that are ripening it.
We don't understand most of those things. So you
yes, we do. It's microbiology.
What about human life?
What about it?
Tell me what do you think? What do you think human life
oxidizing
is?
as well, yeah.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle. And when I say miracle, I can't explain it, and I make no attempt to explain it at the moment. We don't know how to think about it. And anyone, and again, another one of the Feynman quotes when he was talking about quantum physics. He said, anyone, Jeffrey, who says they understand.
I like Feynman. He's good.
Quantum physics and quantum mechanics and quantum behavior, you know they're lying.
Let's talk about it. That's post-Newtonian. Talk about what's the difference. Who founded quantum mechanics? Why is quantum mechanics taking Newtonian physics and taking it to the next level?
It forms a much broader category.
Let's go back to this desk. You used the thing of Newton using this desk. Why can't Newton's theory explain everything? Why did subatomic quantum mechanics or quantum physics have to come in to explain this?
Well, so let's go right back to square one. Why is it called quantum physics? So quanta is a word that simply means packet, small amount. So it's quantized. So when we recognized that this table appears, another very complicated word, solid to us, it's really made up of molecules or atoms. And atoms, we've given lots of names to what some of the behaviors. If you were in school, when you and I were in school in the 50s, the model was a little center thing in the middle, and an electron went around and around it. It was seen as a ball that went around and around it. And as we start to say, well, let's see what this ball looks like. I want to be able to examine that little thing called an electron. We found that there was nothing there. There wasn't the thing. It was simply a cloud of energy that we can call an electron. So we already started to see mysterious things as we go into very super small quantities, quantum physics. So quantum physics started to go into the very small, and at very small distances, we see things that we can't explain. We just cannot explain.
It's the pignosis on the international level.
4 minutes.
Fine. And to summarize, no, sorry.
Let's go back to human life. When do you think human life starts?
Why are they asking me these questions?
So you see, this is the question. You're asking me to measure something again. It's the disease.
It can't be measured.
Are they trying to find these positions on abortion?
That's why I'm not married.
I'm peeling this onion back a layer at a time. All your bullshit and happy target can't be measured like that. Is that to say measure it's a commitment. You don't even like a commitment when you answer a question.
I don't.
As they say in golf, commit to the shot.
I don't know what it means to be measured.
You do know what it means to be measured. You're one of the leading currency traders, hedge fund guys, or stock market financial wizards. You're in the high priesthood of high finance. You certainly know how to measure. That's why you're a billionaire. Any other answer besides that is total and complete bullshit, and you know it.
I know very few things.
You know things to be measured. You measure every day. You weigh and measure every day. You weigh and measure people. You weigh and measure leaders. You weigh and measure economies. You weigh and measure politics.
It's a very
you,
good.
you weigh and measure. You weigh.
Hang on.
Your whole life, in fact, is measuring.
So what you've now done is a great thing, is you've used the word measure, a mathematic term, in the common vernacular and abused it. So I don't even recognize what it means. It's so abusive to my field. So I don't even recognize what it means. It's so abusive to my field.
Why? And let's go to that.
Wouldn't want to abuse Jeffrey Epstein.
Measure means what specifically?
There's no specific. It's an approximation or giving something a number. Einstein said,
we're not asking you to go to the ninth decimal point.
You didn't say that before.
No, you're not going to the ninth.
I don't even. What if I say measure? How tall are you? You'd say 6 foot.
6 feet.
But is it 6 foot 1 inch?
Short.
Give or take between 5'11" and 6 feet.
But what's that? But
Steve Bannon confirmed 5'11" to 6 feet, chat. Just like every other man in the world.
So the question is, I want an accurate.
I got Zeno's paradox.
I don't even know what it means to measure you. Am I measuring the top of your hair, the top of your skull? The finer, the more.
You're being rabbinical. This is like.
I shaved my beard off. I used to be rabbinical.
No, my point is, isn't that going through the Torah where you're parsing every definition?
No, so,
however we broadly define measure, your life literally is about measurement, is it not?
It's about putting numbers on things so that I can try my best.
I don't measure things. I just put the numbers on them.
You can call it whatever you like. If that makes you feel better.
What do you know? No, I want to relate it back to your scientific inquiry.
It's like, is this gonna get to the point where it's like, there's no way you can like measure an age, man? Okay.
No, even a number. People don't. A number is a complicated
When did
thing.
you come to this aha moment? Was when it was in your solitary confinement, when the biggest financial crisis in world history was going on in your 7x9 jail cell with your metal bed and your two brushes because you were a trustee with the brown uniform on,
toilet brushes,
trustee spelled wrong. Is that the moment of clarity that you had about science and Newtonian physics and everything that we can measure is really not going to be the way we go forward? It's going to be much more esoteric.
Can we fact check this? There's no way that this guy had 2 toilet brushes. It's just ridiculous.
Emotional intelligence thing. Was that your?
Because he's got trustee on his background.
I wish it was, because it would make such a great story for this interview, but it's not. It's the fact that I lead such a privileged life to come across.
But when did you? If it didn't happen then, when did it? Or did it happen before?
I was going to hopefully get to the. Okay. I'm in a privileged position to have some of the world's smartest people come to my house and tell me what they think about different subjects.
So that's where he's getting all the information from, the other people.
Finally realized that the thing that they had most in common was there was this area, no matter how smart they were, that when I asked them the questions, they said they'd have to resort to a 500 or 1,000-year-old response to that question, which was,
if there's grass in the field, play ball?
I don't know.
You know who else found that out? Socrates. That's what Socrates kept doing, right? Socrates kept asking all the experts. He would go through, question after question after question, and realize at the end they didn't really know. They really didn't basically understand what they were talking about.
And one of the things that people won't enjoy, it turns out that potentially one of the bad things to teach children is how to write.
What?
It's impossible.
What? Don't. I mean, is this one small trick you can use to get out of prosecution? If the kids can't sign their affidavits, they can't tell you that they were abused. If they can't write, then they can't complain to the cops. Got them. Don't teach them how to use phone numbers either. Don't teach them 911.
Writing, reading, bad things to teach children is how to write. It's writing, reading, and arithmetic was supposed to be, everyone's supposed to be taught. But writing forces you into a very narrow channel of thinking. You have to write.
I think he knows a lot about narrow channels.
In a certain form, in a certain way, in a certain linear pattern. So your thinking becomes somewhat narrow. The reason I brought up writing is one of the recent discoveries.
Yeah, the illiterate. They're the most. That's who runs society. The illiterate. Don't teach children how to write.
The Socrates, Plato's, and Aristotle is they never wrote anything. They spoke, and people around who could write.
Is this like? Is he just talking about his fucking emails? Is that why all his emails are garbage? Nobody taught this man how to write.
Socrates could think. So that was.
Jesus of Nazareth was the same way, right? Never wrote anything.
I thought he was a carpenter.
He was a carpenter.
Didn't he need like a little carpenter's tool? I don't want to get that.
But at least his written record. Right. One last thing.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Jesus never learned how to write. Wasn't he a carpenter? What? Is like the idea that like drawing marks is like the same as writing. What do you mean? Like, why would you ask a Jew about Jesus as well? It's like
to your house.
That is a good question. Why did he invite him over?
Vegetable juice.
Let's go back.
Look what vegetable juice does.
When did that? The
My
beginning
brain
of
is
that, was there
vegetable
any
juice after
one
this.
aha moment in all these great thinkers? Did it happen before 2008? Was it after? That came up over, I know, many years. But when did you actually realize, hey, something new's got to be developed?
Yeah, that's great. Is that because again, I'm privileged enough to have people around me who've given lots of philanthropic gifts to institutions of higher learning, and when I said the impact, how do you judge the impact of your giving? And we sat down and said, no really new ideas have come out. And I realized that, of course, it hasn't come out because we've been looking at using science and mathematics, and it's the wrong tool. It's obvious.
Institutions that are set up and try to put forward knowledge and understanding and truth, should they take your money?
This is a good question, actually. Like, would you take a bad man's money? It's like you could do something better with it, obviously, but I don't know. It's actually an interesting question.
At Harvard said taking money for good causes is a good thing.
So if Hitler took all the gold out of the teeth of the Jews and said, I want to give this to Heidelberg University to fund the Leibniz chairs so that I can study high energy physics, Derek Bach would say that was fine?
What's he going to say?
Again, these questions are questions where good people on both sides, like in Charlottesville,
answer the question.
I don't know the answer to this question.
So tell us the two. Give us the two answers. The one answer why it shouldn't be, and then the one answer. Derek Bach says, "I'll take essentially the way I'll do it." So I'm indifferent to where the cash comes from. Money's money, and if I got good guys, I'm the fiduciary that says these are good people. This is good research. Okay, I'll take the cash from any source, including
Steve Bannon.
You. What's the other argument?
Let me give you that. I know in my case,
is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it. A heart.
But you earned it.
I earned it legally.
We went back to this before. You earned
Yes.
it. You earned it advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money.
So instead of asking me the question, should you take the money? Because I think it's a legitimate question.
You think it's a legitimate question?
Yes, no question.
Did he just say that there were good people on Hitler's side? No. He said there was good people on the... There's good people on the other side. That's what he means. Of course. No, never mind.
Because I think about, I think you have ethics is always a complicated subject. But I can tell you
really?
that with the money I gave to help try to eradicate polio in Pakistan and India, instead of asking me whether that money should be given to these children for vaccines, I think you might want to ask their mothers who received the vaccine, who know their child now won't get polio, and ask them if Epstein should have helped these people.
If we walked into, you're a mathematician. We walked into that clinic where they're giving that money out to these people that are in the most dire straits of poverty and sickness, and told them that the money was coming from class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
What's tier 1's the highest and worst?
No,
I'm the lowest.
I'm the lowest.
You're the lowest. Tier
What? I'm going to press X down on that.
Tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
Yes.
That the money came from them. What percentage of people do you estimate? I understand you don't like probabilities. Do you estimate would say, I don't care, I want the money for my children?
I would say everyone said, I want the money for my children.
Did they know where the money came from?
I think if you told them, if I told them the devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
Huh? It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is somebody knows the devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Satan is the.
Well, I mean, he's being stuck with a pitchfork right now by the devil, so I guess you play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
He is at the number 1 or 2 archangel, and the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw that in a movie once called American Dharma. I don't remember who said it. Okay, we have to go.
Okay, good.
Okay. That was good.
He's too busy. He's got to go meet Satan for lunch, I suppose. That was I don't know what we just watched. I feel like he was just using his tomfoolery to misdirect the entire interview the entire time. He didn't answer the real questions. And I'm convinced that he's just a brainlet at this point. Like, I thought he was I thought he was a financial genius, like, unironically. It was interesting. I mean, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. I don't think it was a bore. But it goes to show you that, like, you could just bullshit your entire way through life and become one of the richest people in the world. He's a confidence man, I think so. All right, I gotta get out of here, chat. I hope you enjoyed that. Not sure what did I do for the rest of the week, but that was certainly entertaining. If Elijah Schaffer gets better, we might talk about it. It seems like he's calming down for today. I'll give a real quick check to see if there's any new updates on his situation. But what is this? All right, what is it? There is actually something new. Huh. All right, this is actually interesting. Hold on a second. All right, there is something interesting. All right. So there's a post by Pearl H. Davis. So I'm not a big fan of Pearl, as you know, but apparently she was in this group. This is the Sarah chick. She was in this group with the female influencer girly group, and I actually recognize at least one of these people here. It says 18 members. I recognize Ari Jacobs. She was friends with Legal Vices, yeah. Let's see. So she left this group apparently. I think it's better for women to promote children and marriage than sleeping with random homeless black men and hating on young women getting married. There she goes again. I'm going to bed. God forbid I help the homeless. Pearl H. Davis, let's see. You're really funny. I will give you that always. Conservative men always gaslight and conservative women always gaslight and insult you when you point out that they're using their marriage for family to build their brand. Yeah, this is right, because Pearl H. Davis was calling her out because she posted her engagement ring on Twitter, which is just like an absolute crabs in the bucket mentality. So Pearl has this idea that if you ever post anything about your getting married or having children, then you're just using it to increase your brand as a conservative woman. I think that'll be my next tweet. Thanks for the inspiration. What do you guys think is worse? Be honest. Side to chick to your married boss or dating a black guy? I'd rather kill myself, to be honest. How about you ladies? Side chick is morally worse, but I have a strong personal preference towards white guys. Never ventured outside of white guys. Don't think I could. Who's saying that? Rachel Wilson saying this? How about you, so-and-so? Side chick is morally worse, but I read that part. Rather kill yourself than be the side chick or date a black guy? Lol, I'm honestly not sure. What do you think is more slutty? Gun to your head. I say that, but women rarely effectively kill themselves. Well, that's true. They're incompetent. I just use attention to deflect answering a no-word answer. All the drama's coming up. This is just like, I mean, it's like nothing important, but it's just funny at the same time. Let's see. What did I just read? Saria being super quiet. What did you want to weigh in? Oh, the feminist whore left the group. Oh no. A member was removed. Morgan, do you not see the irony of you calling her a whore? I don't know who this Morgan Ariel is, but apparently she's slapping around or whatever. This is old, maybe. I haven't seen this before. No, I've been abstinent for 6 years and live for Christ. You live for Christ while bullying women on the internet? Really? All the stuff's coming out. It's getting fun, I guess. Oh dear, dear, oh dear. Why is Beardson in the group with these girls? That doesn't make sense. Oh, all right, that's the end of the thread there. I think I'll be monitoring this and we'll see if it gets more interesting. Honestly, I think Elijah being stuck in the back rooms was so funny. Like, why is he wandering around this hotel that it's just wet and thing? All right, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, whatever. If you see anything funny, let me know. And maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, peace, chat. Have a good one.